but you didn't come to play. 'Cause you got it, and you mean it, and you get there soon. And while you're grinding, making dreams come true, so I'm just gotta let your body loose. Time to party, but those dance moves to good use. Yeah, put your hands go up, stomp your feet. Let me see you kicking it back on the dance floor, on the dance floor. Feel the beat, electrified. Move your hips side to side on the dance floor, on the dance floor. On the dance floor. On the dance floor.
to prove it, I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up, it's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride. I'm ready to throw down, it's time showdown. I'm ready to rise, don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
I better add the respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone, throw it off in my brain and I'm bad to the bone.
Welcome everyone to another night of the Kart Rider Drift League. We continue here on Wednesday from South Korea, and Wednesday that means we have triple team matches waiting for us tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice matchup tonight we have on our hands here. I mean, one of them looks like it could be one-sided.
Yeah.
You have one that looks like it's going to be kind of competitive, and then you have one that looks very competitive, right?
Yes.
So we're going to kind of get all three tiers, so to speak, today. And these are really important matches, obviously, at the end of our regular season.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Obviously, we're nearing the end. Only 2 more days here of the regular season for the team matches before we roll into the postseason. So, you know, if you're that close to getting into that 5th place for the wildcard match, or maybe even getting a better seeding, you're going to have to make it happen here in your last match. So here's overall how the season went down. We started on October 7th, and now, as you can see, we are in the last week before we move on to the postseason starting on the 18th.
Yeah, and when we move into that postseason, we will have a wildcard match that's new to this season. It's our first real season of the KDL, where a 5th place team will get another chance. Then we'll move into our regular format we had before, the double elimination bracket, and then the finals will be on December 9th against that upper bracket winner versus the lower bracket or losers finals winner, as it is often in those types of formats. Here is, of course, the prize pool. Notably, we've talked about it a few times, but just to remind everyone, we have an MVP as well as a fan race MVP, both of them taking home about $50,000.
Yeah, and you know, that's a nice little bonus for the racers who have raced the best. Obviously, the MVP is going to be selected from the tournament itself, and fan race MVP is fan votes. So after every match, the fans here have been voting for who they think is the MVP, and then whoever has the most votes by the end of the season, they will be taking away that extra bonus. So I guess in theory, one player could be taking both, and they'll get a nice, sum of chunk change. But I mean, we'll have to keep tally of that, of course, of the fan race votes all throughout the season as well. So far, I mean, we're in that last week, so most teams facing their last team match, but up to last week, we had some pretty strong showings, right?
Yeah, I mean, we did see Desperado take out Always 2-0. That was expected. I think the Liiv Sandbox win was one they really needed to take, but it was much closer, I think, than that scoreline will show you. It was 2-0, but some of those races were fairly close. And then you had the MIRAEN SEJONG versus KWANGDONG FREECS match that did end up going to the ace match that KWANGDONG took in the end to keep their undefeated record on the table. And you know, MSJ, they came in as one of the big favorites in terms of their roster, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the super team they essentially are. But they've really been delivering, you know?
Yes.
And they're definitely looking right now like they're in pole position to take 2nd place.
Yeah, and KWANGDONG FREECS, they continued their win streak, of course, now at 6-0, so that already secures them into the upper finals, taking that red side seed, so they are secured for 1st place here in the round robin, but of course, we'll see if they can continue that lossless streak, because they've never actually done that in a full regular season so far.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet, and they did take out Always, of course, in that last matchup there, as you can see. And then we did have some players eliminated. We did have a redemption match for solo. It's Striker, Hero, Ding, and Will, who just skirted by there to make it through. Woojun, Scald, Hong, and Squad were eliminated, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, it was a close one. Those of you who watched it, you'll remember Will actually really squeaking by across the finish line there at the end. But, of course, we'll revisit the solos later on in the season. And now taking a look at the standings so far, KWANGDONG FREECS, they're set in 1st place. The question is, will that become a 7-0, or will they always get that kind of token loss they've always had in most regular seasons so far? And then we still have quite a few teams trying to vie for a better seeding from 2nd through 5th.
Yeah, you can see the domination that MIRAEN and SEJONG has shown throughout a lot of their wins, they actually have only one less set differential than Liiv Sandbox, despite having one less one less series played rather, and they're actually ahead in rounds. So if they do continue to win, even if both teams win, they'll likely pass ahead. But that is, of course, the question as those teams continue to grow their win rates. As Seongnam, ROX, and Desperado also tied at 3 and 2. So we have a very clear top team. It gets a little bit murkier though from 2 to 5th, where we will very likely have those playoff teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like the story is going to be, okay, you know, 4 of you guys will duke it out. Who gets the chance to challenge, of course, KWANGDONG FREECS at the end. But well, you know, we'll revisit. I mean, it is a double elimination bracket once we go into the postseason, so upsets could happen. We'll have to keep track of that. Now, taking a look at the Fan Race MVP, we've told you guys already that these are fan votes after every match, so we take a look at the most recent matches last week. You see a Banana. Jimin actually took 2 for himself, so now he gets up there, getting close to Spear, but Spear continues to reign supreme with 3 votes total out of the 6 matches that KWANGDONG FREECS has played.
Yeah, I mean, Spear is such a fantastic player. I think definitely in the preseason is one of the best players we saw. Great sweeper, but has kind of adopted a little bit more of an all-around role since he has joined, or since you know, we moved into this season, that is to say. But Jimin, I think, also a player deserves a lot of credit. Was the item ace, now doing kind of everything, including competing in solos. So here's the fan predictions for today's matches. Very one-sided, all 3 of them, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, not surprising, right? I mean, I think you could argue, again, things like Seongnam, ROX, and KWANGDONG FREECS, it could be competitive. Liiv Sandbox and Desperado could put up a fight. However, in theory, I mean, we do have a stronger team. ROX Esports actually still hasn't gotten a win against the pro team so far here in the very first season of KDL. So curious to see if they can do it against the best of the best.
Yeah, I think both Seongnam, ROX versus KWANGDONG and Liiv Sandbox versus Desperado could be closer than those fan predictions will have you believe, but obviously these are 2 of the most popular teams in our league. Actually, I'd say, honestly, these are 3 most popular teams, all of them that have the, the 92, 89. They're like our most popular 3 teams, but I could see a world in which if Seongnam, ROX prepared really well today, they could bring us to an ace, and the same of Desperado. I think that we have 3 favorites, but it's not impossible that we see a really competitive match.
No, not at all. Yeah, I would agree. I'd love to see Seongnam, ROX actually put up a much stronger fight. And I think they, you know, I think that team, that brand, and then some of those racers, they've been known to kind of throw that wrench in the plans of the top dogs, right? Even if they don't take them down eventually, they will put a little bit of a wrinkle in the record, so to speak, as they actually did during the preseason as well. So would love to see if that can happen again here in the very first season of KDL.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Otherwise, we may see the matches be very quick today. But I'm hoping to see Desperado bounce back a little bit. I think this team is one that has a lot of fan favorite players like Banana, for example, and just hasn't been able to make its mark just yet.
Well, we'll have to wait for that at the end of the night, but kicking things off, as you saw, it is going to be 2 pro teams facing off. First on stage, it will be Seongnam, ROX.
Seongnam, ROX, a very strong team. Looning, of course, being one of the big standout players with his performance at the end of our last preseason. And you have, of course, Acidfly, who did very well last season. And his team has obviously a decent amount of potential. We know that they are capable of a lot better than I think they've shown us. And look, they're very likely going to postseason, and if they can continue to grow, maybe they'll make a run through it. But they're not yet one of our top 3 teams.
No, not yet. And so far, as you mentioned, I mean, there's a reason a lot of these other pro teams were joking before the season started that, like, oh, well, ROX doesn't really count as a pro team. And they haven't proven it yet in those pro team head-to-heads, but KWANGDONG FREECS, they're returning on stage to try to finally get that elusive, lossless streak. All wins in the round robin. They have never done so as a team, as a brand, as an org, in Kartrider and now in Kartrider Drift. So we'll see if they can make history.
Yeah, looking for that undefeated season. World Cool Spear and Sungbin coming out here. Very unique roster of veterans, but they're, I'd say, more recent veterans than some of the ones we have on MSJ, for example. Gonna take a look, of course, at where we are headed here for speed in just a moment, but before we do that, we'll take a closer look at these players. ROX, a team that I think has really, I think we talk about some of the teams like Desperado, which have popular players, right? But Seongnam, ROX, I feel like reminds me of a team that is very serious about improving, and a team that, maybe the lens is actually going to meme a little bit here. Usually we see this team on camera, they're very serious, they're very much in the zone, and they're like, we can beat anybody. And I think that confidence is really important. We'll learn from you guys. I'm like, all right, guys, no, I'm saying, say something more confident. Come on.
But I agree with you. They're usually pretty confident, and they're willing to just take the stage, especially Looning. I mean, obviously, he's coming off the back of preseason 2, where he was the solo champion. And, you know, he's up there just always saying, I'm just racing my game, right? I'm just here. And he shows it at the average speed rank. We saw it on the chart just a second ago. He is currently in first place in terms of average finishes. So he has been racing the fastest in team matches. However, right behind him are World and Cool from Kwangdong Freeks.
Yeah, and Spear is insane in speed mode. Like, he can actually be the front runner. He can be, you know, the speed ace, quote unquote, if he needs to be, if he ends up having the best start. But his sweeping is the best in the league, in my opinion. And it's really difficult when they get a 1-2 start, something like a 1-2-4 setup where he's in fourth. That third place racer is the only one that's trying to compete. He's just not going to make it easy for you. It's so difficult. If you give this team even a little bit of space, they will absolutely crush you.
Yeah, Spear has done several, like, 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3 sweeping, right, where he successfully just blocked off the entire opponent. And now we take a look at the track list. We did have Seongnam ROX taking speed priority off of the coin flip win, so they'll be taking us to Mexico Touring Rally first.
Yeah, they'll be heading to Village Bayside Bridge Run and then Village Boom Hill Tunnel, before we go to Brazil Circuit and then Glacier Extreme Stadium to close things out. Shanghai and Miami Drive here banned by Kwangdong Freeks, and then Terracotta Twister and Construction Chaos banned by ROX. 2 pretty tough in terms of skill ceiling tracks, I would say. Terracotta Twister, even though it's so popular and it's our most played track if you include preseasons, still one that top teams do absolutely dominate on. So if you feel like this is where you're going to struggle a little bit, maybe take that one away. I think it's a good ban.
Absolutely. It seems like Seongnam ROX definitely doing their homework, taking away a couple of the favorites from Kwangdong Freeks. Let's see if that works out as we get ready for round 1 in speed mode, going to Mexico Touring Rally. And the race begins with Seongnam ROX in red and Kwangdong Freeks on blue as we race the streets of Mexico.
Really great start here so far on the side of ROX. Looning and Navi taking the top 2 spots here. Seongbin will compete for it, but this is the exact ideal spot you're looking for here. You get that 1-2 setup, but then you have a sweeper to disrupt those trying to chase. That's going to be Navi right now. Let's see if they can hold on to these top 2 spots.
Yeah, the big question is going to be, can Navi do the sweeping like you mentioned, Wolf? I mean, usually Kwangdong Freeks, they start with the 1-2 position and then they don't let it go. So ROX, they've already done step 1. However, this isn't a short track, so can they keep hold of that all the way to the end?
That's a really good question. Not entirely sure the line that Boom was trying to take there. Ended up losing a ton of momentum. And now it's Looning and Navi. In fact, in those top 2 spots, Seongbin going to try to do some sweeping of his own to give some space to Cool here. And it's really the main win condition for ROX right now is that 1-2, and they're losing control of it very rapidly.
Yeah, and Boom's just not having a great time trying to sweep against these veterans. He's now just trying to shoot ahead. Looks like they've had some comms and say, okay, let's just trade position. You race that. Oh, line, and Boom barely inching forward for now, but Cool is right on his heels.
Yeah. They're in drafting range, and Seongbin and Cool can draft off each other here as Navi is actually going to get in the third, and this may give them a little bit more distance. So this is a 1-lap track here, Mexico Touring Rally, and it's hard to pass at this stage, so Spear and World are going to need some team gauge. I don't know if they have enough.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough. Boom even getting that final draft as well to make sure nobody can catch up. And Seongnam ROX with an excellent first choice and an excellent game plan. Put Looning in first and then just chase him all the way to the end. They take the 1-2.
Yeah, I feel like Navi, you know, is the one player who didn't get enough spotlight in that race because he did actually delay the Kwangdong Freeks from catching up initially on the track. And even though he was ultimately kind of pushed back to 5th place, he did his job. He built enough space there, and Looning, we saw it in preseason too. If you give that guy enough track, he's just going to go all the way. He is going to take 1st place. He is going to just make sure that he doesn't make any mistakes on the end of the race. Sometimes we see players get greedy because like, oh, they're right on our heels. Nope, played it safe. He trusted in Navi a little bit there, knew he had enough space. And wow, ROX taking the first race of speed here. really a surprising result, to say the least.
Yeah, and quite confidently as well, like you mentioned. So curious to see if they can continue that. So far, the picks and bans looking like it went well. Now we go to Kwangdong Freeks' choice of Bayside Bridge Run.
And here we go, track number 2 between ROX and Kwangdong Freeks. Seongnam ROX took the first track here. And again, a very good start. Acid Fly and Navi this time will be the first to take those top 2 spots.
Yeah, not many teams have been able to take the top spots right off the bat away from Kwangdong Freeks. However, I mean, you can definitely tell the sweeping veterancy is on the side of Kwangdong Freeks. They're able to win out a lot of these battles, and this time it's working out in their favor as they now were able to set up for each other. Oh, look at this double team against Acid Fly here on the bridge.
Yeah, such a great angle there from Spear as well, taking the cross to make it really awkward for Acid Fly to avoid Seongbin there. He didn't really have any options, and now Seongbin here just going to try to take some of these narrow hitters, and there's a mistake from Acid Fly, and that's your control gone. That being said, ROX still actually have this 3-4-5 right now set up with Acid Fly in first. They are technically massively ahead. Seongbin might have been able to do a lot on his own, but the rest of his team is going to have to keep up.
Yeah, Spear and Cool, they'll definitely have to work together here. And, you know, if we've seen the pattern from Kwangdong Freeks, ideally you set Cool up to pass by board while Spear and Seongbin are putting
Boom
on the
is
pressure.
killing it.
And boom, just great blocks from the double team again on Cool on the other side as well.
Yeah, and Looning and Acid Fly are so far ahead. Look at that sweeping again. Seongbin, yeah, he's ahead, but he can't catch up to them alone. They're going to need at least one more player here, and the 1-2 almost looks all said and done right now. This is massive.
Yeah, and Boom's just going full aggression right now. He's just trying to make them lose speed because otherwise they're just not going to get in draft range. And I think he knows his job is almost done. Obviously, should be one more chance as we go around the corners here. But even Seongdin still not going to be in draft range just yet. I don't think there's a chance for Kwangdong Freeks.
I don't think so. I think this is just domination. What we're watching right now, it's going to be another 1-2 here for ROX. The preparation going to this looks very clean. And we saw Navi and Boom swapping spots there. Boom decides, okay, I'm losing a little bit of control. I'm going to sacrifice myself and push Cool back. And as that happens, Navi goes and takes the 3rd place and then goes straight back to exactly where he was sweeping before. And Boom and Navi just allow Looning and Acid Fly to have such a massive lead. No matter how much team gauge you have, there is just nothing you can do. And ROX looking clean today. I mean,
it's great.
The first track was pretty dominant. The second one, I feel even more so. And we might see a 3-0 here if something doesn't change.
I mean, listen, ROX won most, if not, I mean, most of their speed mode battles. They only barely lost to Liiv Sandbox recently, right? So they were also a dominant team in the speed mode. They used to struggle a little bit on the item side of things, but it looks like they came very prepared. In fact, kind of targeting Kwangdong Freeks' style and strategy in terms of needing that first 1-2 right off the bat.
Yeah, gotta have a great start. They had 2 great starts back-to-back here as we move into Village Boom Hill Tunnel, which could be our last track of speed. We'll find out if they can do it again.
Set point for Seongnam ROX as we kick off here in Boom Hill Tunnel, and once again, ROX taking the 1-2 lead as we head into the tunnel.
And they very clearly have designated Looning and Acid Fly as their runners for this one, where they want to have them at the front lines here and then have either Navi or Boom be sweeping. This time, though, a little bit of an early disruption from Kwangdong Freeks will allow Seongbin and World to challenge here, but it's not domination again here for Kwangdong Freeks. Looning still occupies that first place spot, and Boom's going to give Seongbin a run for his money.
Yeah, a little bit too aggressive from Boom, though, and I was about to say, I mean, it gets so narrow here on this track. You try to do too much sweeping, and if you're not used to it, you're going to start bouncing back and forth. Great block from Looning, though, so he's doing his job, given to him from his teammates, still protecting that first place, but nobody nearby in the 2-3-4 position.
Yeah, and Cool is staying pretty far away, so there's no way Looning can actually kind of 1v2, get value there. They're going to take that Neil build there off the railing, and Looning maintains first, but as you mentioned, the rest of the team is just so far behind. It's a numbers game they can't win, and Oh, that's the end of that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just a great block from Pool, and World even trying to make sure he sweeps at the shortcuts, actually just completely throws chaos into the plans of Seongnam ROX, and they just cannot catch up. It will be Seongbin and Cool with the 1-2, bringing things back as a 1-2 scoreline here in the speed mode set.
Yeah, really just unfortunate for ROX there. Seongnam ROX having some issues in the early part of the track with that first big collision there from Boong, where he tried to sweep too aggressively. You pointed it out, and then that second error there from Looning just was the end of it. Then some really cool sweeping there from KWANGDONG, but I think they kind of had it on lock. This was the track selection of ROX as well, so not a great feeling, but at least you know you have that buffer of those earlier 2 wins. And as we move into the next track, Brazil Circuit here, you still are on speed match point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for Seongnam ROX, you got to rest assured that you, at the very least, will go to Glacier Extreme Stadium, which you picked as that last choice track in round 5 if it needs to go to a Hail Mary plan. So, you know, they shouldn't feel too nervous just yet, but they got to recognize it wasn't a great start. See if they can bounce back. This time going back to KWANGDONG Freeks' choice in round 4 on WKC Brazil Circuit.
Off we go here. The lead still in the hands of Seongnam ROX as Acid Fly and Boong will have a good start here. But this track, I feel like your start matters less than any of the tracks we've seen thus far because there are a lot of different paths you could take. It's a very open track. You could sacrifice a little bit of boost gauge to actually cut through the grass. If you have Team Nitro, you can catch up very easily. It's really just about maintaining that gap, and sweeping can be useful here in some of these choke points, but it's really about reacting to what your opponent's going to do.
Yeah, it's definitely much more about those kind of split-second decisions. You know, how do I take this shortcut? Which shortcut do I take? And I want to point out, you know, right off the bat from the race, Looning was in that middle position on the starting line. He just completely messes up KWANGDONG Freeks' ideas for cutting to get that boost gauge, and now he's catching back up on his own as well. So great start from Seongnam ROX.
Yeah, and they have this, you know, top 4 completely under control. World here is in second place at the moment, but he just doesn't have a lot of space to work with, and with 3 people around him, he can't actually take the lines he wants to take, and if he gets pushed into a tire, for example, trying to take a greedy one, that's going to be the end of this speed mode here for KWANGDONG Freeks, so they need Spear to catch up. He is forcing his way now into top 3.
Yeah, Boom with a nice draft and a boost off of it as well. Coming back now, blocks out World a bit. Oh, almost bumped Spear right into the tire, but Spear's going to recover just in time. He did lose quite a bit of speed though, so Boom now catching back up. However, KWANGDONG Freeks now in a decent position to try to disrupt for a 2-3-4 finish.
Yeah, I mean, this was looking really rough for them, and in the second lap, they've turned it around. Great recovery there from Spear. That could have actually just been the play that broke the back of KWANGDONG here, but now they're in a very close position.
Yeah, to fly that bump against the wall, gives the draft over to World as well, and now World in first place. It's not looking good for Seongnam ROX. Boong and Navi are so far behind. The 2-3-4 just not possible here. Can they try to catch up? As of Fly and Looning, they're not going to be able to enter into the first place, and it's going to be a 21-18 point difference. KWANGDONG Freeks will be taking us to round 5.
Yeah, we are going to a 5th round, as you say, and it looked really hard for KWANGDONG Freeks there, but great recovery, and I think a little bit of over-aggression, you could say, from ROX there at the end of that first lap kind of gave away the lead that they had. If they had played a little bit more passively, played a little bit more reactionarily there, I think they would have been much better, but at the end of the day, it is going to be 1-3-5 here for KWANGDONG Freeks, so they will narrowly take this and bring us to 5. So we are moving to our 5th track, Glacier Extreme Stadium. And with the hairpin turns at the end of this one, anything could happen. But wow, what a statement it would be if ROX could actually defeat KWANGDONG Freeks, our top team right now in speed.
Yeah, KWANGDONG Freeks, in fact, undefeated in speed mode so far. Obviously undefeated overall in matches as well. And that, you know, that previous track, it was World who just kept everyone at bay until they caught up. We'll see if Seongnam ROX are aware of that, if they can adjust as we go to set point on Glacier Extreme Stadium. Set point round 5 in speed mode between Seongnam ROX and KWANGDONG Freeks, and for the first time KWANGDONG Freeks having the start they want with 2 racers right up at the front.
Yeah, this is the scary part when you have the top 4 dominated by KWANGDONG. Oh, look at that play from Cool there. Actually sets up the line he wants, uses his opponent's cart to actually grab some extra, you know, speed there, and Now 1-2 on lock here. Now Seongnam and Cool need to come up and actually help sweep for this because they are not that far ahead just yet in this first lap, and all it takes is a really tight line here on these hairpins in just a moment for ROX to regain control.
Yeah, Seongnam's getting close, and I want to see Na'Vi just not get flustered by this, right? Because Looning, we have faith he's going to be able to catch up in one way or another, but Na'Vi's the one who has to help defend behind. Oh no!
Ucaster cursed him!
An
William
absolute
Ucaster cursed him!
disaster! Na'Vi was doing everything he could, but Looning crashes into the wall and brings his teammate with him.
And that's basically it. I mean, there is just no way. I mean, realistically here, it is almost impossible for them to catch up now, especially if you consider World and Spear have already enough distance here on Boom that even if it was a competitive midfield, you'd be saying this one's pretty much over. They don't have that. They got 3 at the back here. It is Boom versus KWANGDONG FREECS, not ROX versus KWANGDONG FREECS right now.
And even that, it's against Seongbin, who just shoves him into the wall. Absolutely leaves him no choice. Cool, just understanding that all he has to do is block them off. I mean, there's just no chance. Looning, even if he breaks into the top 3, they're just not going to have enough points. Seongnam ROX, they were racing so well. And one crucial mistake.
It's just, now you're just competing to deny the 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll be able to get that, but you are not going to stop top 3. World Spear Seongbin will take it. 1-2 win here with 3, 25-14, the final score. And that is just greed right there and a lack of communication. Both Looning and Na'Vi tried to take the tightest possible line on that hairpin, and then they collided because you can both do that if you come in at the same time, but if you try to actually flip that hairpin turn on that inner line, you will collide with a racer that's behind you. And sometimes if you do it right, you can do that to the racer behind you and knock them in and actually get a speed boost, but it was kind of a team kill there, an own goal, so to speak. And they both had the line set up the way they wanted to, but the communication wasn't there, and you're driving so fast, you're trying to regain that control, but that is it. KWANGDONG FREECS are probably going, that was a close one, but ultimately, like, did they win it or did ROX lose it at the end is what people will be saying about this one.
Oh, man, and, you know, as you called it, Wolf, I mean, I cast cursed him. Looning was doing so well for the entire season, and the one time he makes a mistake, it costs the entire team speed mode. And it will be 3-2 for KWANGDONG FREECS. That one's got to hurt, but it's not over just yet. We got to get ready for item mode.
Yeah, it is so true, though, that Looning was kind of the picturesque, consistent racer, the consistent runner who's going to always get it done, never make a mistake, utilize his boost sufficiently. You almost never see a mistake like that at him. You'll see players like Hero do that. You'll see Seongbin make a mistake every now and then. Like, nobody's perfect, but I thought Looning was about as close as it gets. And then you had to cast your curse, didn't you?
I mean, it was just a perfect moment. It was just a perfect moment. You got to set up those storylines. Well, now we go on to item mode to see if Seongnam ROX can bring things back. As KWANGDONG FREECS, they chose to take us to World Tour Seaplane Base right off the bat. Not surprising there. I mean, it's a track that suits them well given its very lengthy course.
Yeah, then we're going to go to Graveyard, Dark Castle, Forest, Mushroom Caves, and then we will actually go to Gondola Tour, one of the rarer tracks here at the KDL, on the Magma Cavern. Polar Half-Pipe, very commonly banned. People don't like that one as much. Clock Tower Crossing, again, rarer track. And then Motherlode, Misty Falls. Hard to really say why those are banned. I guess maybe they don't want to play as much tempo-based, you know, as KWANGDONG FREECS would like to, but they took them off the board. And as you say, we are going to start things off on World Tour SFC Plane Base. We'll see if ROX can bring it back.
A tough loss in speed mode for Seongnam ROX, but they'll now have to look to get 3 on the board, an item to take us to an ace match.
Bit of an early alarm going to get picked up here. The Siren going to sweep them out. That's actually high value. And Looning here, up with World right now. An Angel picked up for World, actually. So can use that defensively. And we'll eat a UFO here. Seongbin actually pulls in the head. And he's actually just going to hold that Angel for now.
I mean, he's going to be safe, right? And this is, again, a very long track, so not in any rush to try to use those items early on. Yeah, I think he's happy to just keep that. If they can cycle through other useful items, no need to rush it just yet.
Yeah, now that he's dropped back to 8th, I think he's absolutely going to hold it. It won't be much good to him alone back there. As long as you can use a Tempo Angel if you get it super early and then pick another one up later, but not going to be the case this time around. Boom in second with this magnet. And Na'Vi also got one. He's going to now move into first with double shield, so that's kind of ideal. If you could pick up enough shields here, then you have someone up with you to give you some cover. But no aggressive items here, unfortunately, so I don't know how long he's going to really last up here with just 2 shields.
Yeah, so he's just trying to make sure he levels the playing field there. It looks like he just goes for a little bit of blocking at the moment. I mean, you still have another lap and a half left here on Seaplane Base, so no reason to think that you can cross the finish line with just those 2 shields.
Yeah, definitely not. World and Seongbin now in the lead here. Not gonna pop that. The spear.
Continue to get these sirens. He's
Yeah,
getting
he's
good value
like,
out of these.
he's like, I'm an item mode sweeper as well, by the way. Just letting everyone know.
I mean, lots of great value, and now, I mean, Kwangdong Freeks, it looks like the timing's hit as we've been taking a look at that mini-map, right? They're starting to shoot ahead. World just creating so much distance, and you can see on the map already, Seongbin, his job right now just to keep Na'Vi at bay, and he's done a great job. I mean, World, he's alone on the map. No one can catch sight of him.
Seongbin actually knocked Na'Vi off the map with him, too. Looning's catching up a little bit. World actually had an EMP to avoid that UFO. Now he's got some bananas, which we'll see if he can get value out of. We'll just try to use it here on this narrow line, you have to imagine, but he needs shielding here because the gap is not what it once was.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Seongnam ROX, they double up on the Wisp a bit too close together, so they're not going to get the chain reaction they want on World. A nice scanner used by Seongbin right now. Ooh, boom, just barely goes past that water balloon, and he's going to keep track of World for the time being.
Yeah, it's really going to be about what he can do. He's got that EMP for the magnet here. How quickly can he react is the question.
Yeah, I mean, does Boom know that the EMP is going to be waiting for? He's got to be aware that it's a possibility. Trying to see what he can cycle through here. Cool, trying to deny the items, and it's going to be a missile in the pocket of Boom.
Yeah, shield here as well as that EMP. EMP drop now. He's got double shields. I think this is enough here for Kwangdong Freeks. They have the Angel as well. The distance is just so high now. 500 meters.
I know, and that water bomb is not going to hit, nor is the barricade. It's going to go over to the main part of the course. The UFO will try to slow him down, but it's still Cool right behind him. And it will be Cool, in fact, who crosses the finish line. Kwangdong Freeks taking the first point here in item mode.
Kwangdong Freeks striking back again after winning that final track of speed, but a race where it felt like they were kind of in the driver's seat the entire time, had the better items, had the ability to then know that the EMP stacked up, they could push really hard that advantage. The magnet wasn't going to be enough, but UFO's not going to be enough. And though he does eventually get UFO later, he's just so far ahead, it doesn't matter. And he's got World to back him up there. So if you can get 2 players in those top 2 spots, one player could just eat all the aggro, and then the other player pulls ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much a team coordination effort here, and then making sure you're calming about your items. And then now with the scanners as well, you're able to see that. But we take a look at Spears sweeping, I believe, here. Yeah, he goes for a double siren here, and then he's going to go for the next siren as soon as he gets it right off the bat. He's just going to activate that, goes for 360, make sure Boom doesn't approach him. I mean, what a racer. If he's able to do that in item mode as well, you got to be afraid of him.
Yeah, you got to be afraid of him. And, you know, he did that first one into perfectly hitting the shortcut jump as well, and then he's using his rear view to actually identify when they're coming next to him. Gets that second one to go off. We're moving on, though, to Graveyard Dark Castle. We'll see if ROX can tie things up here on our second track of item mode. Off we go here. ROX down 0-1, also have lost speed, so really important to start trying to get that momentum back now as a UFO will hit. Na'Vi takes first place.
Yeah, Na'Vi will see how long he can keep control of that, and more importantly, you know, on these that are 3 lappers, can he make sure that he creates room for his teammates to catch up? Right now, it's Na'Vi, Boong, and Lens, you know, near the top 4, so they are well set up in terms of coordinating with each other.
We're going to eat that Wisp, so Na'Vi going to pull ahead once more. Does have a shield here. See if he can grab another one. Actually not going to pick up anything there. Didn't look like. Perhaps the barricade dissuaded him.
Yeah, just going to be able to get right on by, holding on to one shield, now cycling out for another one as well, an EMP. So Na'Vi's in okay position. However, Boong and Looning, I mean, they got to start to set something up here for his teammates. Oh, Cool, going to shield right past that, but the Wisp following up as well. Nice teamwork from Seongnam ROX. They still have all 4 players near the front, and now we do see Looning dropping back just to cycle through some better items.
It's just a melee here on the top 4, though. It's just non-stop action, non-stop fighting here. It's hard to say one team has a massive advantage over the other. I say that now, with those Wisps connecting, it actually is going to be Kwangdong Freecks who end up getting a big numbers advantage. It Lens in second right now, but Spear massively ahead is going to bounce over that barricade there. And, I mean, this is really tight.
It's very close. And Lens and Boong, they're holding on to these Nitro boosts. We'll see if it comes into play. Definitely a couple options. You know, maybe if they can get something like a Magnet or not, and Cool just with some excellent blocking. Eventually, we'll have to pay for that with his position. He's only going to get a Nitrous boost for his trouble, so he'll have to cycle through. However, more importantly, Spear so far ahead once again, and that's what Cool was aiming for.
Yeah.
A nice water bomb as well to keep Seongnam ROX at bay.
And they have an Angel, they have a Wisp they could use defensively, double shield here for Spear. He doesn't have an EMP for this UFO that's going to be launched out here.
Is it enough, though? He's so far ahead. He is in vision, but can they get something like a boost? The Magnet is showing up, going
Great
to be the shield. But the Magnets, it's coming through. Double Magnet slows him down, and Boong will slingshot forward, and he will be crossing the finish line just in time for Seongnam ROX.
Didn't have an EMP for that one, and the Magnet is going to pull him back. Boong waits till the last possible second, knows the angle there, knows the timing, and ROX will tie us up here in item now. Series has been very competitive. It looked like maybe they were just going to have it. I mean, the distance was so great, like you were saying. Double shield there for Spear, but the Magnet does him in the end. And that's the power of Magnets. Sometimes you'll see players go just to the left or just to the right of the track so that if they get hit by something, they can sometimes still spin against the wall. The wall will actually push them forward into the finish line, but the Magnet just pulls you out of that completely.
Yeah, I mean, just great usage there at the end, and obviously getting the Magnets right when they needed it. So Seongnam ROX, you know, a little bit of Lady Luck smiling down on them as well, but cycling through was on their part. And of course, Lens on your screen, the item ace for Seongnam ROX, trying to make sure that this time he can bring them to an ace match. Right at the beginning of the season, he had tears in his eyes because he lost the item mode for them and forced Looning to go into the ace match. But this time, he's the one they need to bring them to an ace match.
Yeah. This is going to be Forest Mushroom Caves. This is Kwangdong Freecks' track selection here. Very basic 2-star track. You know, not a lot of environment to work with here. It's going to be about timings of when you want to use those items and how far you can get ahead in the early game. Which one of these teams are going to pull ahead? Let's find out.
As you mentioned, Wolf, we're going on to a 2-star track, so none of the sirens, you know, the big bananas, things like that showing up here. It's just going to be basic racing and all back to basics in terms of coordination.
Lots of shields picked up here for our front runners. You'll see them get popped here defensively. Lens ignores that missile, that is to say. It was trying to annoy him, but he will ignore it with the shield. Looning will actually avoid that water bomb and knows he doesn't need to use his shield, so actually has stacked 2 now.
Okay, I mean, you know, as simple as it gets, that means tempo can be a huge advantage here for Seongnam ROX, and Looning's feeling quite safe. He still has another shield as well, going to use that defensively. Now a banana and a shield, but still one more chance for him to keep his lead. The Magnet finally going to help Cool catch up just a tad bit.
The really awkward thing about Cool having a Magnet and the position he's in right now is usually the Lightning player wants to be further at the back so they can use more supportive items. So I wonder how he's going to use this, because he doesn't want to just drop back to 8th. He's in first place with a Lightning. He might actually use it to try to gain some distance here. It's very rare to see that, but maybe he will, because it's basically taking up one of his item slots right now for the time being.
Yeah, absolutely. And another way they could work it is if there's a teammate right behind him, right, he can continue to eat that aggro and then just pop the Lightning as soon as he drops away from first place. So curious to see if Seongnam ROX are expecting this at all. They do have a Guardian Angel, so they should be able to avoid it as long as Na'Vi holds on to that for the longest time. Now, Cool does have a water bomb, trying to draw out some of these defensive items, but it's not going to happen just yet.
I think you're right on the money. Cool just going to try to keep pushing, and if he drops back, then he'll use it later, and that's kind of happened here.
But going to just be the, you know, Guardian Angels coming out. Na'Vi still has one in his pocket as well. So everyone from Seongnam ROX feeling quite safe. Lens and Looning up in the first 2. Double shield for Looning as well. So if Lens takes that, it's not going to matter. And it's going to be a clean finish for Seongnam ROX Lens. And this is what happens when you have these simple tracks, right? It's just about the tempo. If you can cycle through those shields, you will win.
And we saw Boong with some nice sweeping there as well, playing it like it was speed there in the final moments, just blocking everybody out, furthering that lead. And I mean, sometimes it is just as simple as that. Like, it doesn't look impressive, it doesn't look that cool, but it's basically ROX just playing the safest, most boring, and most efficient way. And you see it's a 3-second gap between Lens and Spear.
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive gap. And because they knew they were quite close and they had so many wisps, they were actually able to keep control of Pool. I think at that point they knew we don't need to worry about using our Guardian Angels. It gave time for Looning to cycle through for more shields, and then they were safe from all the other attacks. And notably, you know, a lot of the attacks kind of being used a bit too quickly from Kwangdong Freeks in fear of giving up the tempo.
Yeah, a lot of awkward moments too as well, like that lightning that didn't really get anything done for them. But we're going to move into Venice Gondola Tour, one of our rarer maps here, to see if ROX can bring us to the ace match. And we are off to the races here. Seongnam ROX leading item, but lost speed. If they win this, we go to the ace match here. If they lose it, we go to 5 in items. It's Seongbin and Spear with a really nice advantage right now.
Yeah, so far a solid start for the Kwangdong Freeks. In fact, Boom didn't get an item in the first cycle either, so he's just trying to play catch-up in terms of his arsenal. Does have the double rockets to boast for that, so he'll be able to provide some support from behind.
Navi, some really nice racing there. Will get to hold his shield for a little bit longer, which allows him to block right there, which is quite critical so he can make it over that gap. Otherwise, would have fallen into the river. And he's got another shield picked up now, and he's starting to get some distance.
Yeah, Navi's feeling relatively safe here. Spear, no attacks ready. Now a Wisp coming out, but both players in front of him. In fact, 4 shields in front of him. He's not catching up anytime soon. Boom just trying to catch up the Siren to make sure that Spear just doesn't think about coming up. He tried to sweep against World there, but he's going to miss his target.
Yeah, unfortunately, he just lost so much momentum there that he wasn't really going to be able to have the moment that Spear had earlier on in our first item track. But still, tried his best. Navi's got a decent amount of distance here. They need to see some aggressive items here, and the rocket and this balloon is pretty hard to actually hit him with, especially when he's going through the gondola portion there. You can't really hit him with that. He's going to be able to shield these.
Oh, but the double lightning bolt, they bait out the Guardian Angel, and now they've got 2. One more still in the bank, ready to go. Now Navi has refreshed his shield. We'll see if that comes in handy. Can they bait it out? 1 Wisp takes out 1 shield. Can he cycle for another? He does, in fact, and that's going to be the lightning bolt denied. And Navi continues to race it first with another double shield.
Yeah, he just keeps grabbing these shields. That was a great turn to make sure he could hit both boxes there. And the advantage he has now is so great. I don't know if this magnet is going to be in range, to be honest. I don't think it is.
Yeah, Looney's got an EMP ready to go as well, and he dodges the barricade around the last corner, shielding the last one as well. I mean, Navi just getting double items back to back to back for all those shields, and he will be bringing us to an ace match.
We're going to an ace match, and that was just great play from Navi. He was able to identify that the gap is large enough, and that 1 shield he had when he was going over the wall there, or rather over the jump right before he got on the booster, was so important because I think Kwangdong thought they had him right there where they wanted him. Now, this is really insane because remember, ROX made a huge error in that 5th track of speed where, you know, if that didn't happen, we might actually be saying ROX just beat Kwangdong's first team to do it. But we're still going to an ace match right now where they could very well be the first team to beat Kwangdong Freeks. We'll see who ends up getting chosen here because
oh man,
it's a tough one for the side of Kwangdong. They have so many players who can do it. They often or go back to World in these scenarios. And for the side of ROX, I mean, Looning's your guy. You would think, you know, he's the one that I would expect they go with, but he has to consider who he's racing against.
Yeah, and he did make that mistake when the pressure got to him, right, on Extreme Stadium in round 5 of speed mode. So curious to see if he, you know, takes this chance to kind of get rid of that for redemption, or if they all decide, nah, it's time for someone else. You know, Acid Fly has had a couple moments in the ace matches before. Now, Kwangdong Freaks, sometimes they'll just let whoever wants to race that day go for it, and oftentimes it's Seongbin if they leave it up to that. But today, they want that undefeated streak. It looks like the coach really wants to consider all his options.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Spear's a bad option necessarily, but I think he's probably not the one that you want. I think any of the other racers have enough experience in ace matches to where you could trust them, and it might just be track specific, to be honest, what they decide to go for.
Yeah.
And coach getting, you know, very serious about this. The discussion you could see here on screen about who is actually going to be selected. Looks like ROX have already chosen, at least that's the impression I get from what we're seeing on camera here, but
You gotta imagine. I mean, Looning's the most probable, right? Even with the mistake earlier, I mean, he's always been your go-to guy in speed mode, in 1v1s and ace matches, even in solos. So I think you give him one more chance to try, especially because whoever plays against KWANGDONG FREECS, it's going to be a very tough one mentally.
See what the track's going to be. Ooh. We're going to Glacier Extreme Stadium. A little bit too real. A little bit too real.
We're going back.
Is it going to be Looning? Are they going to trust him? Are they going to give him another shot?
How? I mean, now that it is Extreme Stadium, I mean, I don't know, in the same day, I mean, sure, some racers would say, you know what, give me that chance for redemption, but I think Looning might just say, I don't want to have to deal with that pressure, right? And give it up to another teammate of his that he's willing to trust.
I mean, I'd give him a chance, but they're not going to do it. It's actually going to be Boom, the sweeper here for the side of Seongnam ROX against Sungbin. Feels like a very big mismatch here. You know, you have to favor Sungbin going into this one, but maybe Boom, he feels like he knows this track well enough, he's practiced it enough, and he knows that Looning with that struggle earlier, maybe it's not his night. They trust him with this one. If he pulls it off, it'll be a historic moment in KDL for sure.
I mean, it'd be huge, especially just beating Sungbin in an ace match alone is a massive accomplishment. Sungbin, often known as, you know, the racer who's addicted to ace matches all throughout his history in his career with the KWANGDONG FREECS. We'll see if Boom can make that upset happen. No sweeping needed here for multiple opponents. It's just a 1v1 to the end on Glacier Extreme Stadium. Two racers and one track left for the very last match for these two pro teams. KWANGDONG FREECS one step away from an undefeated record, and Seongnam ROX trying to finally get their first win against a pro team.
Yeah, this is such a huge moment here for KWANGDONG FREECS because you win this and you've done it, you're undefeated, or you lose that. For ROX, it's so massive to get this win against the toughest team. This is the hardest point to get on the board in the standings. It's going to give you a ton of extra momentum in your potential rise to a higher seed for playoffs. As it is a very neck-and-neck race thus far, with Sungbin having a slight advantage. You see Boom a little bit faster on the nitro gauge and can draft, so see how these first hairpins go.
Yeah, and it looks like Boom so far in lap one, he just wanted to kind of gauge what Sungbin's mentality has been in terms of how he reacts to Boom's pressure. He's constantly just vying for an opening, but not quite taking it off the draft. And now as we enter lap two, curious to see if Boom starts to make his move.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to wait and see here. Sungbin doing some nice blocking here, but
oh, and a nice recovery from Boom as he tries to get bumped out, but he's gonna shove Sungbin into the wall with his momentum. But Boom, he can't keep up the top speed.
Yeah.
He has to focus on the blocks for now.
He has to focus on the box. This is so close. And Sungbin here is actually going to look for a draft here. Look at the tight line he's taking. Boom recovers nicely there. Goes inner to outer.
Yeah, but Boom's, he's just focusing on defense. I don't know if this is going to pay off, but it does for now. He gets boosted forward. And if you take a look on your screen, Sungbin currently just nearing 190 on his heartbeat rate monitor. I mean, he's always been such a cool racer, but the pressure might just be getting to him in the final moments as we enter the last hairpin turn. Sungbin loses speed on the jump, and Boom, he just might do it. He might give KWANGDONG FREECS that one loss they can never escape from, and Seongnam ROX will be finally getting their first win against a pro team, and it will be the top dogs at that.
It'll be their fourth win of the season, and as you say, against the KWANGDONG FREECS, the toughest team. They have not been able to have that undefeated season, and they will not be having it here in our first KDL. And Boom, he pulled it off. You could see how tense he was. You could see that moment. You talked about the heart rate monitor, but the celebration there as well, the team coming over and celebrating with him. You can see he's so relieved, but he handled the pressure extremely well there, and that recovery off of the attempt there to pass by Sungbin, where he tried to block and then Sungbin knocked into him and he recovered and bounced in and then bounced Sungbin into the wall. That passage of play is what gave him the opportunity to be in first, and he was able to maintain, he was able to hold on to it. And that's not easy to do on Glacier Extreme Stadium because of those hairpin turns. Look how happy he is.
I mean, this is huge, right? Not only are you bringing the team the victory, it's against the KWANGDONG FREECS, and you just won the ace match against Sungbin, who has always individually felt confident that he can take on anyone in any team. I mean, this is a massive star in his career book for Boom.
Yeah, Sungbin getting clearly nervous there as well. And this is going to be our results. As you can see, a win for ROX. We said it when we talked about the fan prediction. I was like, yeah, it's what, 92% KWANGDONG favored, but I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a close race here. Not only was it close, we got to see the upset.
Just a great win for Seongnam ROX, and I think they really needed that before going into the postseason potentially, because they've had the shadow looming over them of, well, you're not really a pro team. You guys are all kind of these hodgepodge racers who got together, and now they say, well, we're actually the only ones who took down the Guangdong Freaks. I think we absolutely deserve to be part of that crowd.
Yeah, I think the conversations about ROX Esports will change a lot after this win, and it's well-deserved. One that people will be talking about for the next few days and going into playoffs as well. That 4-2 record is pretty massive, and it puts them up with Liiv Sandbox right at 4-2. MSJ, who are playing in our next series, who are favored, will likely move to 4-2 as well. So, it's going to be a lot about those point differentials, and we're going to be talking about that a lot when we end up finishing up today when we look at the standings.
Yeah, of course, Seongnam ROX will have to play one more team match at the end of the week, so we'll see if they can get the win there. They're very likely going to go into second place and maybe a bit of a tiebreaker scenario with a couple of teams like you mentioned, but this is huge for Seongnam ROX. At the very least, they look like they're somewhat clear of that wild card match.
Yeah, very much so. Feels pretty safe for them as long as they can continue that momentum into their final match. But Guangdong Freaks, you got a feel for them, They recovered well in speed. Almost, basically just straight up did get a reverse sweep. It feels weird with how the final track went, but they got a reverse sweep there. Item obviously went a little bit rough, but Seongbin, they trusted him, and he normally gets it done, but
he does. He
no
absolutely
undefeated
does.
streak, no undefeated season.
Yeah, and I love that Boone was just so aware that Seongbin will do everything he can to catch up, so he just plays for the blocking defensive style rather than just trying to race ahead. And you just see how much it mattered for Seongbin and Guangdong Freaks. We've never seen any of the Guangdong Freaks get that nervous on stage in terms of their own heart rate. So this is quite a moment here for the very first season of the KDL.
It also makes you wonder, is there a vulnerability for the Guangdong Freaks? Is this team just going to win again? Or maybe these teams catching up? I feel like the level of play, we talk about it every season, has improved so massively.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Of course, Guangdong Freaks, they still remain in first place going into the postseason. But that's not it for tonight. We still have 2 more matches. After we take a short break, next up, it's going to be Finale Esports in last place going up against MIRAEN SEJONG. We'll be right back.
positions number 7 and 8. Now Hong was able to pass up to position 6 for a moment there as the battle continues on, but as we look here, to the enter line a little bit too tight. Perhaps there was a collision with Wujun. Is now Finale and a twist of fate for a moment. The Summer 1-2 and Seongnam is going crazy. Look at his line. Wow.
That was, and Wujun and Gutsy wrong. They all need to keep their 2-3-5-7. In fact, now 2-4-5-6 looks to be the finish here for Finale, and they take round number 1.
Yeah, man, what an upset coming in here on track number 1. Sungbin did everything in his power to gauge yourself to pop out individual nitros, and then there's the super speed gauge, which turns your red nitros into blue nitros. They last a little bit longer, so Blue going to be playing a bit more of a support role. And once again, the same story is a lot of the always matches earlier in the season, it had to make a Hail Mary play to close the distance with so much. All eyes on Team Always Diamond as he just single ALS. I feel like they have a little bit of momentum right now coming off that win. Meek and Knight are racing really well. Diamond actually is the racer all the way down to 6th rank here for Team Always. And if he can start to run his way back up into the front, they can really make some plays. But oh my,
Team Always, if you look at the minimap, they're all being held by just Hyunsu. Hyunsu is making the 1v3 happen.
I think we're pretty much guaranteed LSB is going to have a 1-2, if not a 1-2-3 finish, as Always just really blasted there to start things out. Diamond's still going to be able to find his way into a top 4, but this race was over basically right from the get-go. That was...
Now by the Magnet as Navi contests.
We have pretty much everybody on the shortcut. This is kind of an unusual situation here with 500 meters left to go. That might wave and will. Position 400 meters. That water balloon is absolutely huge though, and that might be what Wave needs. Boom, he does pop something, but no, I don't know if that magnet's gonna be enough as Wave is able to dispel it. And not by, they're forcing that track number 5, and you can see.
And you can use the magnet to get up there, or you can magnet from there to actually win it, and it is right at the end of the track. So when we get to the
field, so that's not gonna be able to block it. Oh, it blocks the UFO. It does not block the water whisk. Wave right now in first place. Lansky, I don't think he's gonna be able to boost up. Actually gets enough speed somehow to be able to pass both Wave and Will there on the straightaway, and the arms go in the air as Finale is going to bring us to a look yourself. You can now see on the right side of your screen when you're throwing that water bomb where it's going to land. And these pros, even though they're very good, it's still hard to really eyeball those things. This on well prepared for it. We'll see if they're going to be able to force an ace match. But that water bomb is absolutely huge.
yeah, that's massive. Now the lightning bolt trying to catch him on the jump, but they do make it across. Still losing a ton of momentum. Doesn't here trying to push a finish. Snoopy!
The UFO coming in, he spins out, but he still is able to cross the finish line. And we are going to go to an ace match with Nutmite.
Avoids a lot of aggro here by staying behind MIRAEN SEJON's players, because if you're in front of them, you're going to get hit. But if you stay behind all those nitros, you stay close with them, that's where you get that timing. Jumps the first one, 400 meters to go. There's see me grab a shield, he got one. Stops the second nitro, but he's getting magneted.
And that magnet actually is going to be huge! Guardian!
Oh my god, he actually did it!
I thought, when they crossed the finish line, I actually thought that Desperado picked up that win, but...
Shield
Oh
not
my
going to cut it against the
goodness.
magnet. I mean... So much here. Gunsu passing. Does he going to take the outer here and actually almost gets that control ballooning? He's going to hold on to it. This is one of the tighter and more awkward parts of the track.
I don't know who's going to take it. Gunsu is back again in the lead.
Gunsu looks like he is in position to do so, but Percent with a better line. Goes on the inner there. Bump though, that's going to hurt him, and Gunsu gets back control. Hoojun!
What? No way! How is this possible? Hoojun coming out of seemingly nowhere. It was so messy there in the final couple of hairpin turns.
Looks like they got you on the floor. You're so looking for the door. Isn't it a riot? Every time they hit you down, you start
your mouth, better add the respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone. Throw it off in my brain and I'm bad to the bone.
Welcome back, Kart Riders. We continue with the Kart Rider Drift League tonight. We have already finished one of the team matches for the night. We still have 2 more in the bank. And next up, it's going to be a real tough one for the players getting on stage right now. It's going to be Finale Esports.
Yeah, Finale with a pretty, you know, they're a storied org basically so far in KDL throughout the preseasons, right? But they have not written the story of success just yet, and this has been their toughest season yet. 0-5 currently in KDL 2023, and we talked about this, I feel like every time they play, like this roster has good players. They are on paper actually a pretty strong team, one that you would expect could actually break into postseason with some proper training with the right amount of work, but it just hasn't happened. And up against the Titans that are MIRAEN and SEJONG today, their opponents, the super team of the season, and what was once a dark horse but now a heavy favorite along with KWANGDONG and Liiv Sandbox, is going to be a tough one. This one may be a stomp. It certainly could end up being that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you pointed that out because MIRAEN and SEJONG, their opponents on paper, they don't seem bad. It looks like they could give them a run for their money, but looking at their record, I think MIRAEN and SEJONG feels fairly safe. I think MIRAEN and SEJONG's goal today is just going to be race the way we always have, right? No need to take any crazy risks. We just continue to show what we've been working on, and MIRAEN and SEJONG should be continuing to pave a way through the postseason, and ideally for them, an upper bracket finals.
Yeah, I mean, this is a series where you're hoping to actually 6-0 this one and just walk off and go thanks for the indicator points, because you are competing with a lot of players who have the same record as you. And so as many points as you can get, as many advantages you can get, or it's going to be quite critical in that race for second. And we've been talking about Finale Esports here. You know, they're not going to give up. That's what it says there. And
I mean, you shouldn't, right? Especially because a couple of these players during the preseason, you know, namely players like Ding, people were looking at it saying, okay, that's a star to be looking at, a rising star. Just hasn't been able to recreate that success here in the regular first season of KDL. We'll see if he can at least leave a mark here in the very last one. And just a nice little shout to their opponents. I mean, nothing to lose here for Finale Esports. They are out of the race for the postseason, but they're just trying to put one more mark on their own career books as they try to get prepped for future seasons.
yeah, absolutely. I think Hong's inexperience definitely shown through, unfortunately, this season, but he's learned a lot, and you gotta fight to improve, and you know, take this as the best scrim you're ever gonna get, basically, for the rest of the season. See if the team sticks together or not. As some cute characters they've brought to show us today. 12 consecutive item round wins, by the way.
Yeah,
they
huge.
have been dominating item mode.
Yeah, they've really figured it out, right? And this was the part where, you know, notably players like Hojin were struggling in their previous iterations of the teams that he's tried to bring forward, but now with Nock joining the team, they've been able to really shore things up. And another, you know, just courteous nod over to Finale Esports, of course, because Finale is out of the race for the postseason. So this is very much a race that matters for MIRAEN and SEJONG. They are currently 3-2. They have one more match after tonight, and they ideally want to win both so they can try to compete for that second place.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at the track list here. Brazil Circuit, as Finale will actually have priority here in speed. Glacier Extreme Stadium, and then Desert Construction Chaos. And we're going to Mexico Touring Rally and Boom Hill Tunnel.
Huh.
No Handy Harbor, which has been a go-to for MIRAEN and SEJONG
Yeah.
as of late.
Yeah, they avoid that this time around. But Extreme Stadium, another one that both Hero and Hojin notably very much like. They've raced on that track multiple times in ace matches of the past as well, so no surprise there. I'm continuing to surprise whenever, you you know, a team like FNL Esports decides to bring up Construction Chaos against some of the tougher teams, I think, you know, the idea is if we can get the lead, it's going to be hard because there's not really many windows for you to pass by in the later parts of the tracks, but if you lose that lead, then there's no chance for you either.
The start has to be good. Boom Hill Tunnel, very similar to that as well. I think that Brazil Circuit is the odd one out in terms of their track selections here because it is very easy to catch up. It is very easy to use the wider paths to fall behind and then bounce back. We'll see if they can do it here, or maybe we'll have a good start. It's a tough match here against MIRAEN Sejong. We're starting it off on Brazil Circuit.
We kick things off in speed mode with FNL Esports in red, MIRAEN Sejong in blue, and MIRAEN Sejong just a dominant lead here for now. But as we've mentioned before, you can definitely catch up. KWANGDONG Freaks showed us how to do that in the previous match. See if FNL can do the same.
Hero can also annoy these FNL players now with the position he's in.
I mean, quite
for the bump.
I mean, that is, I don't know how much of that was intentional, but an absolutely successful sweep here for Hero as he forces everyone to race on the tires, including himself. But that gives a lot of space for knocking guard. Now, Hojun and Hero are also two racers who can easily catch back up, and it's just Ding here on his own, trying to fight for survival. I mean, if he was in first place, this would be a place where he's able to just kind of keep everyone at bay until his teammates catch up. But right now, he has to try to break the 1-2 on his own as well, and he's doing a good job so far.
Yeah, that was a great outer he took there, and then goes back in and gets a little bit of a bump from guard, and now he can actually sweep these racers. Knocking guard need to make sure they stay a little bit split here so Ding can't actually sacrifice himself like a 1-for-2 type of deal here as Hong and Woojun trying to catch up right now. Ding maintaining that first place though, and you know, this is a very, very tense moment here for FNL because this is one of the last chances you're going to have in these wider spots here to actually break that pack.
Yeah, but look at this. I mean, Hojun, he's constantly taking the outer first and then just aiming to make sure that he knows where the opponents are coming from. He's been able to sweep out, you know, a couple of racers so far. I mean, Ding is still competing. He's trying to hold everyone at bay, and it's given a chance for Hong to try to catch up. But, oh, look at MIRAEN Sejong. They just all crowd against the wall. They know that if they can keep everyone at bay, they should be able to get the 1-2 in one combination or another.
Okay, that was a really bold move there from Hong, but it's not going to be successful. Trying to use the Team Nitro now to get ahead here, but it's just too little too late, and that's it. MIRAEN Sejong will take the first track here, 1 and 2 to guard and Hero. Really nice start for FNL, all things considered, but just some really fantastic blocking, and you know, the gap was quite large there, and once it was just Ding at the front, there's only so much he could do on his own.
Yeah, and Ding, I mean, as great of a racer as he was during the preseason, he wasn't exactly known for his sweeping. He was much more of a runner for whichever teams he was playing on. So yeah, that's where the experience starts to show a little bit, right? We mentioned that FNL, their roster, they have some promising players. However, they don't really have any one player that we can say is the veteran that can lead this squad, and it looks like that's where they continue to fall behind just 2%.
Yeah, just a little bit. And now we're going to the tough one at Glacier Extreme Stadium here, one that has been fantastic for the MIRAEN Sejong players in the past. Hairpin turns are what they love more than anything else. We'll see if FNL can catch up here or if it's going to continue to be one-sided. One and 0 for MIRAEN Sejong right now as we move into Glacier Extreme Stadium. And Guard and Hojun already leading the pack here. And it's the 1-2-4 we see our best teams end up with all the time. And Hong actually using Ding there to get some additional momentum, but he's still, once again, so outnumbered.
Yeah, but he's doing a good job. He actually gets a nice bump from Hojun, so trying to block him off actually gives him the speed boost. Now he's in first place. All he has to do is try to maintain that because this time, for the very first time in a long time for FNL, they have some good support in 3 and 4.
Yeah, all right, let's see if Guard can maintain his spot up here if he's going to be pushed away, because he can also pass if he's not interrupted here on these hairpins. Hojun moves up to second here. This is what he loves on this track. Hong still keeps first place here, but his team has fallen a little bit by the wayside.
Yeah, not much support right now, but thankfully for Hong, he was able to stay kind of toe-to-toe in terms of boost. Both of them continue to chalk up to that team boost here, both Hong and Hojun. The race is really between them right now as Nock and Hero. They're doing everything they can to keep Dutzy at bay. If they can keep that 2-3-4, MIRAEN and SEJONG will win, even if Hojun cannot overtake Hong.
Yeah, Dutzy needs to somehow get up into second place here is basically all they could do because Wujun and Ding are falling so far behind. We saw that picture-in-picture showcasing it a moment ago. And Dutzy is going to break into 1-2. Like, this is what they need. It's basically a 2v4 right now. These guys have to maintain 1 and 2 or it's done.
Yeah, but Dutzy had to take too sharp of a turn. He loses a bit of that top speed. It gives a moment for Hojun to try to catch up. Dutzy's trying to pressure the inside line. He's able to do it on the first one, but he loses too much momentum. Hojun overtakes. He's trying to make sure he gets first, but Nock taking that opportunity to pass by everybody. And now it's a battle for 1-2 between all racers, and Nock going to go in first place, but Finale will get the 2, 3, 5, and 6, and they will be taking a track here in round 2 as they tie things up 1-1.
Yeah, really close race here, and Hojun and Guard falling behind in a big way. And it's really quite unclear as to how those Finale racers actually were able to recover from what was a large deficit. They were in 7th and 8th, but it was about a second and a half between them and those middle-of-the-pack racers, and yet still they were able to get the pass there. Love to see a replay of that because honestly, that's one of the big defining moments here is they didn't get the 1 and 2, but the midfield we thought was doomed for sure came back and it gave Finale enough points.
Yeah, I mean, Finale just goes to show that if you stay focused until the end, you never know, you know, in a track of Cartwright or Drift. And that puts a little bit of pressure back on MIRAEN and SEJONG. I mean, sure, they're not in trouble of losing just yet, but this is an opponent, like you mentioned, Wolf, that they thought they should absolutely be sweeping 6-0 in overall round score. We'll see if they can regain some of that record here as we go to round 3 on Desert Construction Chaos. Tied 1-1 between Finale Esports and MIRAEN and SEJONG. We continue to return to Finale's choice of track here on Construction Chaos.
1 and 2 here, Hero and Guard. We've seen this one before. Dusty trying to create a path here in Construction Chaos. You mentioned it's really difficult to catch up on this track if you fall behind. So they need to actually break through. As Hong is driving so aggressively, he's driving so confidently, but is it going to lead to the advantage he was hoping for there?
I mean, so far, it does feel like Hong's kind of that wild cannon for Finale Esports, right? And when it works, it's great, but otherwise it actually costs not just it, but sometimes his teammates as well. We'll see if they're able to regain. I mean, because of the 90-degree turns here at the end, everyone should have a chance to catch up somewhat into draft range, but Hero currently way out in front, and everyone from MIRAEN and SEJONG doing a good job of giving him that breathing room.
Dusty with a really nice break there, actually, on that tight corner because he knows he's got the choke control and everyone's trying to do efficient lines. That's why you sometimes have to spread out when you outnumber someone who is in first or second, because if you don't, then he can actually just sacrifice himself to get 2 or 3 players delayed. So that's going to give Wujun and Ding a little bit more breathing room. They're much closer, actually, than they were before to breaking through.
Yeah, Dutzy with some nice contention against Nock and Hojun, currently still able to keep both at bay. It gave an opportunity for Ding to catch up, but Hojun now trying to make sure he keeps the 1-2 for his team. It's going to be pretty monumental if he can do so, because otherwise Dutzy and Ding, they're looking to pressure all the way up front.
Yeah, they've got a lot of nitro they've stacked up as well. This is really competitive right now. Ding trying to cut Nock off here. It's really just a race between Hong, Ding, and Hojun right now because Hero has that lead, but Dutzy doesn't look like he's going to drop second. And it's really the rest of the Finale players who need to break just beyond that midfield.
How's it going to look on the tight turns here? Dutzy looking for the break, and Hojun doesn't want to collide yet either. He just wants to contend. They still have that 1-point lead in the placements, but right now it's about that back line. Hong, can he make sure that Wujun gets an opportunity to catch up? Hojun thinks it's a little too risky, and he's trying to go for the 1-2, but he's not able to maintain that speed. Meanwhile, it's the 2, 4, 5, 6. Once again, now it's going to be Finale leading in speed mode 2-1 against MIRAEN and SEJONG.
Finale playing really well today. 2 in a row here now. You see that 1 change to a 2. They're on match point here for speed now. And Dusty played like a god, outnumbered that whole time. Great breaks, really nice blocks, but maintaining speed and allowing Ding, Hong, and Wujun to get into position to actually contest Hojun, contest Nock and Guard. And they almost actually got into second and third there as well, but still 2, 4, 5, 6, as you mentioned, is going to be enough with the last place finishers there for MIRAEN and SEJONG in 7th and 8th. It's just enough points to actually win the track. It's an insanely close race thus far. but this may be an upset that we see here, even if they don't win the entire thing. To win speed alone is definitely something I did not think we were going to see today.
No, not at all, especially with a star-studded lineup on MIRAEN and SEJONG. We'll see if Finale Esports, can they make it all the way to the end here as we look at set point for them, or will MIRAEN and SEJONG take us to around 5 in speed? We find out on Mexico Touring Rally.
Here we go. Finale up 2-1 here in speed. If you're just tuning in, it might be hard to believe, but they have had some great racing so far. It won't be the start they were looking for here, though, on Mexico Touring Rally with a 1-2-3 for MSJ. Hero actually almost able to break into top 4.
Yeah, ooh, Uchun taking way too close of a line, not able to get into the alleyway right away, so he's going to take a bump that he did not bargain for. Pushes it back a decent amount there towards the end, and he's going to have to play catch-up. Dutzy, once again in the same position he was on Construction Chaos, and so far the pattern tells us that Finale, they don't actually care about the first place anymore. It's much more about the midfield control.
Yeah, midfield control is definitely what they need to regain, and Dutzy moves up to first place here, and we saw what he could do with this. It was second, of course, in the last track, but what he could do from ahead, even though the rest of his team is struggling in midfield, they did recover on that second track as well from a situation like this.
Yeah, he tries for the block onto Knock. It would have given him a good opportunity to reset against Hojun as well, but for now, he's just going to have to let that go. And his teammates starting to catch up just a little bit. It's starting to get real crowded in the midfield, so Dutzy, it's up to him. Does he go for first place, or does he make sure he creates a better opening for Hong? He's going to go into first place. They just want a couple more points, because right now, they're able to keep that point lead. Falls beyond just a little bit. Dutzy, is he looking? Oh, he actually pressures Nog into the wall, but Hojun will be taking first place. It does not matter, because 2-3-4 once again in control for Finale Esports as they take a speed mode upset 3-1 against MIRAEN and SEJONG.
What's going on tonight? We might see back-to-back upsets here, William, and Finale. I mean, to take their first win of the season against MSJ here would be absolutely insane. They're only halfway there, but this was just better racing from this squad. Dutzy seeing these players have done a lot with a little, and Dutzy as well on this track, he kept taking the exact paths that MSJ wanted to take, which are the tightest lines, because he knew they were going to try to be greedy. I feel like if MIRAEN and SEJONG actually split and put some of their racers on the lower ground and took some wider lines while also splitting some of their racers on the higher lines, they might have been able to just eventually go past Dutzy as he's trying to block them and just kind of circumvent what he was doing there. But they all just took the most efficient line, so he kept getting value. Every time he bumps somebody, he's basically bumping 3 people. And yeah, then enough time was given to recover there for the midfield.
I mean, absolutely impressive. And this is the type of thing you want to see from racers like Dutzy, like Ding, the rising star, so to speak. And now it's in Planzy's hand, the man you see on screen, as the item ace for Finale Esports. They are competing against MIRAEN and SEJONG, who don't have an item ace. You know, one of the two teams with only a 4-man roster. So we'll see if Planzy can bring that to fruition.
Planzy's always been a pretty good item ace. He's been around for a while, but let's see. I feel like item aces have mattered less, at least in terms of what we can see with our eyes on this patch, but it's less timing based. Let's take a look at the tracks, because that'll give us a little bit of a hint here. We're going to Forest Mushroom Caves, more tempo based. London Night, that's Planzy's playground, right? Finale chooses this one because he is so good at those finishing timings. Then we go back to Misty Falls. So you can see MIRAEN and SEJONG, what they found success with in those 12 in a row item wins is more tempo based, so they're picking those types of tracks. Mine Motherload, another track where you can have that timing-based finish with Planzy. And then Graveyard Cemetery Circuit, that's kind of like a mix of both styles.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but MIRAEN and SEJONG definitely playing to their strengths, or at least trying to. And, not surprising, knowing what they can do in both speed and item mode. I mean, they are very efficient at racing, so if they can just get the lead and keep it, they should be able to cross the finish line, and they're going to need to do that tonight if they want to get to an ace match, because right now, they have already lost the speed mode. We start item mode on Mushroom Caves. FNL Esports continues in red as MIRAEN and SEJONG, they continue to wear the blue, and every racer just making sure they can get their items worth here on that first cycle. I mean, it's just a 2-lapper. It's about that tempo. You want to make sure you have something to try to either catch up or disrupt your opponents.
Yeah, it's a, you know, if you get a lead, usually you want 1 or 2 people in front and then start to use that second person to buffer while the rest of your team from behind offers support, you know, in the form of, for example, just tossing in water bombs or dropping a lightning or holding onto an angel, pulling people back to magnets. But we don't have a clear set of front runners just yet, as Hero and Hojun have tried to pull that distance off. This is the second time they've had a lead like this, but ooh, that barricade's going to do him in. He drops back to 4th.
Yeah, I mean, MIRAEN and SEJONG, you can tell they're using everything they have as soon as they get it, just so they can keep the lead here. Even cycling through those EMPs, will be able to refresh to a shield and a guardian angel here for Hero. So he's feeling quite safe, but he doesn't have that much distance, so he's gonna have to watch out. No EMPs. If a magnet or a UFO shows up, it's not gonna be good news for him.
Yeah, just gonna eat that shot as well and not block it there. Perhaps just to hold on to that shield for later, but does have an angel as well. And now that EMP, Nock holds an EMP as well and a shield. That's the ideal setup here when you have somebody else to help block. Whizpier will be blocked by guard, but he is kind of starting to run out of space here.
Yeah, and we're starting to really get towards the end here. Now the boosts are really going to come into play. Plansy going to catch up on his teammate. They don't want to get EMP just yet. He's going to try to take some of the aggro as they try to set up. Now the Thunderbolt, there is a Guardian Angel on the side of Hero. He has been saving it up, and it should be coming into play should that item be used. And it just gets used at the last second, going to be denied immediately. And the reset off of the Magnet. Hong actually gets attacked. He spins out of control, and Nock will be able to pass him in the last second as he crosses the finish line for MIRAEN and SEJONG.
Very chaotic finish, I would say, William, but we did see that shielding that you were talking about come out. The lightning, they were ready for that potential reality, and they could use it to, of course, cross the finish line either way, but it was well timed there. And even though Hong really gave them a run for their money there, it was attacked at the last possible second, and they do end up crossing the finish line first. So chaotic finish, to say the least here, but Nock will be the first to go. And so MIRAEN and SEJONG now on 13 item wins in a row.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they're continuing their streak one way or another in item mode, so definitely shored up what a lot of people thought would be the weakness for this team between speed and item, and they'll need to continue that streak if they want to get to an ace match, redeem themselves, and try to vie for that upper bracket finals against KWANGDONG Freaks. We get ready for round 2 in item mode. This time it's going to be Finale Esports' choice Plansy specialty World Tour London Night.
MSJ here, MIRAEN and SEJONG up 1-0 in items. They have won 13 in a row. They're going to need to win this one to bring it to an ace match because they got upset in speed. You're just tuning in. But so far, you know, pretty dominant item performance here. And Dutzy going to grab double shield here. We'll bump that wall a little bit, but not going to matter too much.
Yeah, just going to cycle through those as well. I mean, as we mentioned when we were looking at the track ban and pick list, this one, sure, you can get a little bit of a lead with the tempo, but it's really going to come down to the timing near the end. And this track continues to be a very favorite for that Magnet Boost combo here near the end.
That is definitely what Finale likes to use. You know, we coined the term for that Magnet Rush when it was meta in PS1. It fell off in a big way. It was nerfed, it was changed, but it's still relevant. And EMP will cleanse the first of those UFOs. The second one is going to actually come through. But yeah, let's see what is going to be in store here for Finale, because right now with the Storm here for Ding, that he's got the Lightning, Hojun has his own. We're going to trade those. Hero has a Guardian Angel. And we kind of always have to take stock of what is in these inventories as we move to the third lap, because if what you have in your war chest is what you're going to use. As Plansy is actually sneaking around here, trying to avoid any aggro since he doesn't have any defensive items, does have that Magnet Rush. He is the guy who holds the Magnet Rush. He's the item ace, and this is what he is best at.
Yeah, now they're going to need to fish for a Guardian Angel on the side of Finale, though, if they want to ensure that they can get the win with this, because otherwise, I mean, trading the Lightning Bolts is going to favor MIRAEN SEJONG as they still hold on to their Guardian Angel on Hero, and it looks like that's going to be held on to the very last second, if need be, even to the grave here. And now it comes out the Guardian Angel will deny it. MIRAEN SEJONG, they're looking for their own opportunity.
Yeah, it's going to be a Magnet Rush battle here between these two. Firing second, and Hong actually going to push his first.
Yeah, but they are going to get Lightning, no shield intact. Another Magnet pulling back guard, but he's going to reset immediately as Nock is able to shoot forward off of that help. And Nock will be bringing home the victory. And once again, I mean, it's just that lack of the Guardian Angel or a shield on Finale. You know, no one able to defend themselves after they boost forward. I will say, I think they did a great job baiting out the EMP with the UFO, but it just was not enough.
Yeah, I thought maybe with Hong pulling that Magnet, that timing as well, maybe he'd be able to actually be the one to pull it off there, but the Lightning is going to hit everybody. If nobody has, if you're two, you know, guys who are looking for the timing, don't have any defensive items, and you don't have a Guardian Shield, you're just kind of dead in the water, unfortunately, which is what we saw there. You pointed out long ago, like, you both got Lightnings, but they got a shield. They don't have a, you have a you know, lack of umbrella for the rain, so to speak. Now we move into our potentially final track of item, Forest Misty Falls here. This is MSJ's wheelhouse. Like, this is what they are best at, this type of track. It's their track selection. Finale, a bit of, against the ropes here, might have to play an ace match.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, they got such a miraculous win in speed mode. Can they bring it back here in item as we go to potential set point for MIRAEN SEJONG on Forest Misty Falls? (2-0) lead in item mode for MIRAEN SEJONG, and they so desperately want this win so they can get the match win in ace matches.
See if Plansy can get anything done with his barricade. Always an awkward item to have, but he used it so well there, actually.
Yeah, perfect timing. I mean, there was no way that he was going to be able to dodge that one, and we did see just going to have to take the detour there as he's not able to make the jump, but should be okay.
Banana sniper there, and Hong there, dropping it down very nicely. And we'll get the direct hit as Guard now looking for an additional item. It has only offensive items here, which is going to help him catch up as Ding will grab that shield just in time, but won't be able to, of course, absorb the UFO with it. Oof, that hurts.
Yeah, not going to be able to get past that barricade, but he does have Hong had the double offensive items. Not going to catch anyone with the water bomb, but he does get a wisp hit, and that gives an opening for Ding. Plansy actually used the Magnet early on just to catch up, continuing to push forward, but neither of them going to be able to make the jump because of that. Both of them were actually slowed down off of each other, so they're going to have to take the long way around.
Yeah, this is really, really rough here. Dutzy doesn't have anything defensive. Okay, he does pick up that shield now. Ding was sitting back in 7th with 2 shields himself, which is practically useless at that place, so he wants to try to cycle as quickly as possible. Grabs a Nitro and another shield. Doesn't have a Magnet either. Okay, Lightning,
man.
They got a Lightning at least, that's something, but I mean, look at the distance here. You can see bottom right how far away Hojun is with double shield. If he can grab an EMP, it's basically all locked up.
Yeah, I mean, Nock's got an EMP for his teammates as well. They have a Guardian Angel, and Hojun able to recycle for another shield. He's going to use it right away. The Lightning Bolt is going to come down, but it's been denied on everybody, and Hojun is just so far ahead. Another Lightning Bolt and the UFO. It slows him down enough, but all 4 racers of MIRAEN SEJONG now trying to block the way against Ding. He's going to try to find an opening. Double rocket in hand.
The Guardian Angel coming out here as well. See if it's going to be enough here. Moving to the last possible second here, and they don't have any offensive items. MSJ here to actually pass him. Guard going to shield that one. Dutzy blocks as well.
Oh, he gets past that second water bomb, and Plansy just trying to make sure. Oh no, he gets caught up at the last second by a wisp. He thought he had it in the bag, but Guard will be boosting right by him, and that's a 15 consecutive round wins in item mode.
Yeah, we just keep stacking them up. I mean, that's 5 series in a row.
Wow.
5 series in a row.
That's
3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 every time.
Yeah, not a single track dropped, and I mean, this is how you know. Sure, is there some chance-based portion of item mode with what type of items you get? Sure, but you can definitely fight against it. You can definitely play against it, play it to your favor, as MIRAEN SEJONG is now proven by winning 15 tracks in a row.
Yeah, and that last hit there, that last wisp was what guaranteed it was so insanely close because they were, the one weakness of their style, of course, is running out of steam. If you constantly use your items and you don't have an offensive one where they actually hit you with the timing there in the last possible second, you're like, well, my cart can only go so fast. But let's pivot to talking about this ace match now because we got 2 in a row. And, you know, for Finale, it's a really tough call as to who you're going to pull out here. For MIRAEN and Sejong, it's got to be either Hero or Hojun. We know this. They rely on Hero a lot, so I'm guessing it's going to be him, but it may be track dependent. For Finale,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Ding,
I feel it should be Ding.
Ding's usually the favored one, but Dutzy's been racing so well today, so I think there's probably a discussion there. Now, an interesting note for MIRAEN and Sejong, of course, is that I believe Nock is the only one who hasn't actually entered the ace matches in this season of KDL, the very first one, so we'll see if maybe they give him a chance. But I imagine today maybe not, right? I mean, it's such an important match for them. They need to get this win to try to vie for second place.
Yeah.
Rock's watching. They want Finale to win, right? That's who they're rooting for right now. They want to make sure that they're alone in that second place there. So we'll see if that power comes to fruition.
Yeah. Using up all this time here to see who's going to come out. Again, Hero or Hojun versus who I assume would be Ding.
Yeah.
And
that seems the most likely.
I just feel like Ding, even though Dutzy had some fantastic blocking, the skill set that he utilized today to find that success was quite unique and very different than what he's going to need here. Obviously, if you're ahead, you could defend your lead in a similar way, but we'll see what track it's going to be as well here.
Yep, that's going to be revealed first, and it's going to be WKC Shanghai Circuit. Been a while since we've seen this one here. Now we'll have to wait to see which racers will be entering. As the WKC tracks go, relatively a field track, but this has a couple more turns than the usual ones. And it is going to be Ding and Hero. So 2 of the younger racers overall here in the series. Of course, Hero notably was a Royal Roader when he first entered the Kart Rider League just a couple years ago. And now he's trying to bring home the same success for MIRAEN and Sejong.
Yeah, Ding, nothing to lose here, but they are playing for their first win. I feel like the pressure is absolutely on Hero, though. They need this win. It matters so much more. For Ding, he's playing for pride. He's playing for his team. He's playing to not go 0-6 here in your 6th series in a row. You already got the upset win on speed. Now you've got to finish it.
We'll see if Ding can bring home that victory or if Hero is going to defend MIRAEN and Sejong's road up to that second place, up to that upper bracket finals. We find out in the ace match on WKC Shanghai Circuit. One track, 2 laps, Ding versus Hero, Finale versus MIRAEN and Sejong.
Ding with some very aggressive cuts there off the start, and actually will have to use his Nitro early to try to recover as Hero takes a more standard approach here. So he's just going to go ahead and take that first lead here and will maintain that Nitro advantage as a result, weirdly enough, despite Ding's attempt to try to gain an advantage in that regard. You can see he's about, about a half a second ahead in terms of Nitro build here, maybe 25% of an advantage. But this is a 2-lap track that has a lot. If you look at the track map, it looks like, oh, okay, it's just an insane one. But it's actually quite wide open, so a lot of opportunities to pass. And Nitro is so important because you're going to need to use it to actually take tighter lines across grass and other terrain. So having that Nitro advantage is actually really important here.
Yeah, curious to see Ding. He's going for blocks right now rather than aggressive cuts as he finally got into first place for just a brief second. Now, Ding's been having to take a lot tighter corners as he's trying to continue to catch up to Hero. But right now, continuing to be in draft range, he uses it to contest once again, just trying to pressure Hero onto the grass. Hero will recover.
Ding trying to block there, will miss his opportunity, but actually holds a Nitro advantage for just a moment here. See how he's going to utilize it.
Oh, a nice stop against Hero on that corner as well. Forces Hero to lose a bit of speed and good blocks once again, but oh, both of them barely avoiding that wall, and that will mean Ding continues to find success. We near towards the later part of this track, just 500 meters to go, and Ding, is this draft going to be enough for Hero? Ding's trying to block him. He needs to make sure, he needs to keep an eye on him, and he will cross the finish line. Just a split second before Hero, bringing home the first ever victory for Finale Esports in the Kart Rider Drift League.
And the parallel to Kwangdong has happened. Kwangdong is not going to go through this season undefeated, and Finale will not be winless at the end of the season. 2 upsets back-to-back on the opposite sides of our standings, and Ding, he played great defensively here. Even though he struggled at the beginning after those aggressive cuts to try to grab some additional nitro, he was ultimately the one who had the nitro advantage there. And both he and his teammate Dutzy had great defensive plays today. They would just not be stopped. They're going to get a lead and they're going to hold it. And it was just like a brick wall that MIRAEN, SEJONG, and Speed in this ace match could not crack for some reason tonight. They've beaten so many strong teams. Finale just didn't seem like it was going to be the one that could stop them. And even with the perfect item series once again, they can't get it done in Speed. They can't get it done in the ace match.
And this means MIRAEN, SEJONG, they're out of contention for that second place. They will not be getting a free pass to the upper bracket finals. They will have to fight through the rest of the postseason, depending on the other team's results. But currently, that spot is up for grabs between Liiv Sandbox, Seongnam ROX, and Desperado. So MIRAEN, SEJONG, they have a bit of a longer season ahead of them. And I'm just happy for Ding and Dutzy, both of them proving why all of us have been praising them despite all the losses here for Finale Esports, finally bringing home a victory on the board.
Yeah, taking it here in the ace match. 2 one-sided sets, though. Like, we had Speed into going 3-1, which was surprisingly Finale kind of crushing there, and then Item going 3-0. The ace match very close, but ultimately it was Finale and Ding who do take it. So 2 upsets back-to-back. Will we see 3? Is it time for Desperado to take out Liiv Sandbox?
Man, if
Are we going to get the 3 upset night, William?
I mean, I think it's possible. It's very much possible here. We'll have to see. I mean, whoever wins between Liiv Sandbox and Desperado, I mean, if Desperado wins, you know, they're able to continue to try to contend for that second place. But if Liiv Sandbox wins, they're pretty much kind of locked in for second place. Obviously, Seongnam ROX depends on a bit of a round differential battle there. It's going to be a tough one. But hey, who would have thought we would have 2 in a row when we saw the list for tonight's matches?
Yeah, those 8% predictors are probably feeling pretty good right now. Probably gloating, basking in the glory.
Yes.
Nobody trusted my team. I predicted them. And, you know, MIRAEN, SEJONG, they always felt like a team that wasn't infallible for sure, but I thought the item mode part, like, we all knew that seems pretty unbreakable right now. Yeah, you could drop a track. Okay, they didn't. But we're like, okay, maybe they'll drop a track. It's item. There's some variance there. They haven't dropped any of that. But Speed is where they started off looking most dominant at the beginning of this season. And the fact that they lose that, to me, even with the item streak, feels even more surprising.
Yes.
To be honest.
Yes. No, I would agree, especially in that fashion, right? 3-1 lead for Finale Esports. So congrats to Finale Esports finally getting that one win on the board. Of course, they're not quite done yet. They still also have a match waiting for them at the end of the week. And same for MIRAEN, SEJONG. But MIRAEN, SEJONG now out of the races for the upper bracket finals. They're now competing for seeding between 3rd, 4th, and 5th place in the postseason.
Yeah, it's all coming to a close. You know, it feels like even though this season was a little bit longer because we, you know, we had one less broadcast a week, it feels like it really flew by for me. And it's crazy because this season I feel like is much less cut and dry than our preseasons were. The preseason, you're like, all right, we know who the best top 2 teams are, and then the 3rd and 4th is pretty set, and we're kind of looking at the bracket going, well, we have a clear favorite. And there were some cool storylines that happened, right? But this time, it's like, okay, Kwangdong's #1, but they just took a loss.
Yes.
And now we have this middle of the pack in terms of postseason teams where literally every race matters and anything could happen.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing, right, is the middle of the pack isn't that cut and dry anymore. And Guangdong Freaks, they could lose. I mean, they're not entirely undefeatable, so we'll have to keep track of that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not done yet tonight, though. We still have one more team match waiting for you, as you see on your screen. It is going to be Liiv Sandbox versus Desperado. We'll bring you that right after this break.
필요하겠습니다.
아니 소리 똑같았어.
하나씩 말해주라. 잘한대 지금.
많이 뜨지 마. 가까이 있어. 가까이 했어.
입에 넣어봐 된다.
와.
장난치는 되지 마.
뭐야?
다운대로 해야 될 듯.
레슨.
파이팅.
파이팅.
병마형은 당신들이 많이 선호하거든요. 이 부분 어떻게 뚫고 올라갈지 봐야 되겠습니다.
먼저 갈게.
약간 죽었다. 앞딜.
나갈게. 죽였어.
과감한 다이아몬드.
이런 패기가 진짜 좋아요.
살짝 터졌어 여기.
밀었어.
하나 나이스.
나이스.
죽여놨어 한 명.
나이스. 1등 해. 지금 1등 잡아? 이등만 뽑아 쳐주라.
2, 3, 4만 먹으면 되는 건데 이거 원래 이제 약간만 더 하면 기회를 얻을 수 있는데 리브 샌드박스 아직 허용 안 해요.
1등 잡으면 좋다 이거.
작업 조심해요.
나 뒤에 붙어 있어가지고. 알았다. 나 뒤에 붙어 있어가지고 잡으면 좋다.
나팔까 보고 있어.
그러면서 같이 합류되고
터졌어 뒤에.
오케이 나이스.
이겼어. 하. 친구가
1고야.
1등만 해 진짜로.
필싸움 끝까지.
올레이스 라운드 먹습니다.
나이스. 서진이 굿잡. 서진이 잘 뻐겼고.
나이스.
글쎄 거의 유지 안 됐어요?
유지 됐어. 근데 내일부터 있어도 너무 빨랐어. 내 실수. 소리.
까비.
집중하자 얘들아.
원래 이제 나머지 선수들의 파이팅 필요한데 벌써 멀리 가고 있어요 리브 샌드박스.
밀어. 나이스. 가봐.
아직?
하나 죽여. 뽑았다 하나.
지금 핫스탑 한 번?
오케이.
이거 현수가 뒤로 누르면 뒤쪽에서 짐이 다시 공격하고 계속 하는데
나왔어 현정.
나 빨았어. 오른쪽.
한 번만. 그냥 가볼래? 그래 한 번 더 가봐.
다이아몬드를 완전 그래서 연마하고 있네요. 이렇게 깎고 저렇게 깎고 막 난리가 났어요.
또 원투에게까지 접근하는 모습을 보여주고 싶었던 것 같은데 쉽지가 않습니다.
들어갔다. 그냥 갈게. 앞에 있어.
앞뒤.
야 라인도 현수가
이렇게 맞고
터져라.
와.
이러면 문제 없습니다. 이거는 완벽한 경기.
나이스. 슈퍼에서 빠는 팡. 슈퍼에서 빠는 팡. 슈퍼에서 팡. 야들. 껍질. 야들이 껍질해 조용히 형.
뭐라는 거야?
그거 몰라? 빡빡이 아저씨. 슈퍼에서 빵.
몰라.
이걸 모른다.
문진.
세대 차이야? 어디 건데?
어디 건데 이러고 있네.
난 문화를 조금 벗어난 거 아닐까?
알았어 얘들아.
세대를 거슬렀는데.
알았어 그만 갈고.
슈퍼에서 빵.
강동이와 포스트시는 어느 정도 가는 팀이긴 하지만 그래도 굉장히 기분 좋은 승리가 될 수 있겠죠.
상대야 물 버릴게.
버려?
지금 나 미사일 하나 잡히고.
팔에 깔렸어. 나 맞았어. 그냥.
잘했어. 우리 뚫을 때 물 조심. 꼴찌 소상.
1등 맞아요.
나 팔이.
꼴찌 물 안 볼게. 물 걸을 때.
물과 2등 한 번 안 맞아볼게.
하게. 선수 남았어.
나 팔이 1등 아프게 쏠게.
근데 이제 불안한 게 공템을 맞았을 때의 상황을 봐야 되기 때문에
발이 버려도 되면 말죠. 잠깐만. 버렸어.
200까지.
나 사이렌 돌았다. 천천히 갈게.
그걸다 이거. 1매 쏴줄게. 1등 죽였어. 1매. 발이 있어 여기. 먹은 바로. 가. 팔이 봐. 1매 돌아. 괜찮아. 1등 지원 끝까지.
1등 쏴줄게. 물가.
1미 맞았거든?
나 갈게.
서로 타이밍
홍부스터.
뛰어자서
피어스트가 넘어갑니다.
이겼어?
나이스.
나 일단 한 나왔다.
아 이거 막 쏴서.
정말 몇 개 없이 가는 상황이기 때문에
잡는다.
어디?
나이스 물. 1등 물
나
하나.
아파, 나 아파.
오케이.
발이 있어.
깔아봐. 둘 다 깔아봐.
이는 미사일 맞았어. 죽였어. 팔이?
나이스.
뒤에 와야 돼.
네.
버리 셋.
2등 물 칠게.
아.
사이드. 지금. 하나 잡아라.
나 올라갈게.
가도 돼.
가도 돼.
해지 하지 마. 내가 얘기하면 해도.
이거 가드와 스트라이커가 맨 마지막에 속도로 뛸 생각이에요. 속도로.
우주선.
미래야 찔렀어. 놔줘. 그냥 가야 돼
그냥
이제.
가.
자 먼저 썼고 하나 더 쓰면서
뒤쪽에
간다는데
가드가 기다리고 있어.
야 라이트.
그다음에 보스.
아깝다.
와 나이스.
나이스.
이겼다.
나 상대 천사 들어가기도 설마 물 떨어지나 하고 아 제발 물 떨어지 마라 소리.
나이스 잡.
손만 추워짐. 수족 냉증 해버려.
이변 김의지
야이.
지금 좋습니다.
의지가 이병 되려면 얼마나 나온 거야?
3년.
와.
세팅 종료하겠습니다.
소리 똑같았어. 세팅 종료하겠습니다.
세팅 종료할게요.
어떻게든 미리 막아보려고 했는데 지금 중위권이 미들이 뚫린 상황이라서 쉽지 않을 거예요.
제대로 마무리입니다. 이러면 쭉 달려나가면서 그대로 원토스 때리게 들어오네요.
혜원아, 형 믿고 지금 딱 한 번만 정신 차리자. 괜찮으니까. 괜찮아. 스피드 다 잊어 지금. 의지야, 형 믿지? 정신 차려 지금. 지금 정신 안 차리면은 흐름 그냥 그대로 일어난다. 흐름 한번 끊자.
얘들아 살짝 할 거면 끝나고 저렇게
그러니까.
끝나고
괜찮아.
괜찮으니까.
그럼 형 해결 준비해.
바로 차크 드릴게 그냥 차크. 바로 차크 골랐다.
1대 구간이 매번 핵심이 될 수밖에 없잖아요. 여기서 방패브를 얼마큼 잘 가져가느냐도 중요해집니다.
앞에 잡아놔 볼게. 1번 물제고. 사이드. 물 잡았어.
우주 있어.
우주 맞아. 우주 들어갔네. 나 미사일. 너가 안 봐.
일단 내가 걸어줄게, 지현아.
나 직선 코너로 칠 거야. 쳤어. 하나 쳤어. 들어갔다.
나이스.
거리는
나 왼쪽 안 돼. 하나 빨고 해제했어 나.
젠다 사이드 할게. 다리 깔게.
3등 돌릴게. 발이 맞았다 일단.
파리.
괜찮아?
이지부터 해. 사이드 인구.
나 먼저 할게.
사이드 돌렸어. 사이드 켤게. 니는 돌렸어. 쏘리.
괜찮아. 1파 있어, 1파.
미사일 먼저. 끝까지. 1등이죠. 2렙이야. 1등 떨어졌다.
1등 떨어져.
1렙이야 1렙. 오케이.
정신 차려.
우주야.
일 입장에서는 천사도 있고 앞쪽에서 갈 테니까 이쪽에 공템 지원 좀 왔으면 좋겠는데 그 부분이 안 되거든요.
내가 갈게. 내가 맞아줄게.
3등 수상.
미사일. 수상화 돼?
재능 없다, 재능 없어.
다 잡았어. 나부터 할게.
하나 빨고 와.
알았어. 뒤 빨고 간다. 얘 템 없어. 야 나부터 한다 했잖아.
쏘리.
해지 생겨줘. 이제 빨리 말이야.
내용 자체가 사랑할 수밖에 없는 양 팀의 경기였습니다. 특히 아이템전이요.
자 이제 애결로 넘어가는데 너트마이트는 말씀드린 것 같이 이번 시즌 첫 번째 애결입니다.
이 에이스 결정전에서의 한 방이거든요. 정말 중요한 매치가 됐습니다.
두 번째 랩도 이런 비슷한 상황이라면 방금 전에 드랩이 한 번 걸렸죠.
이 정도는 근데 팀 입장에서 괜찮아요. 이 정도는 드랩 받으러 갈 수 있거든요. 저는 상대에게 앞포션 안 준다는 것 같고요. 이거 드랩 받고 점프가 과감하게 될 건데.
밀릴 수 있는 상황.
이렇게 부딪히네요. 1위 갑니다. 너트마이트 갑니다. 이렇게 승리가 왔습니다. 위입니다.
첫 번째 에이스 결정전이었음에도 불구하고 그 어떤 베테랑들보다 멋지게 소화를 해내네요.
If you come to my check, if my name in your mouth, better add the respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is to throw. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone, throw it off in my brain and I'm bad to the bone.
The race continues here at Kartrider Drift League as we get ready for our last match of the night. We near the end of the regular season here in the very first season of the KDL. And next up, it is going to be Liiv Sandbox playing their last team match of the round robin stage.
It's their last match. They are 4-2, looking for a 5-2 finish to put themselves one additional win ahead of their competition for second place. And in terms of their opponent here, in terms of competition, it's definitely a match they're favored in, but we've seen 2 upsets today already. So, you know, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves as we head into this one, but Liiv Sandbox, one of the big fan favorites, still looking for a title here in Kartrider Drift.
Yeah, I mean, despite being the dominant force in Kartrider League, they haven't found the same amount of success here in the Kartrider Drift League. We'll see if they can kick off that start here in the round robin as they face off against Desperado, one of our amateur teams that's really looking to shake things up in the top standings of the round robin.
Yeah, I spoke about this earlier, but, you know, I always go back to this when Desperado is playing. They're a fan favorite team, you know? Everybody loves FreeSky. You know, Banana, he's always, you know, coming out, giving some gestures to the crowd. He's always doing some fun stuff on camera. The Western fans, the global fans just in general, everywhere around the world love Banana. He's one of the most popular players outside of Korea and inside of Korea as well. But there's just a rallying force behind this team. Everyone wants to see this team do well. And they have done relatively well, to be honest, so far. But they want to push further ahead. And to beat Liiv Sandbox here would be a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, so we should note, obviously, Liiv Sandbox, if they lose here, they, you know, are in trouble of not being able to get that second place finish to get to the upper bracket finals. However, if they win, they are more or less locked in. Not 100% because of round differential stats and whatnot, but it should make it 99% likely, so I'm sure Liiv Sandbox will be giving everything they have, kicking things off with speed mode with Neil, Jimin, Byungsu, and Hyunsu. Delta waiting for that item mode.
And they have always just been the second place team to KWANGDONG FREECS all throughout Kartrider Drift. Is respect for Banana's cheer before the game. Not everyone could do that.
I mean, sometimes we pick it up through the Korean caster mics now and then. He's very, very loud, so he's got that energy coming onto that stage.
And I think that Liiv Sandbox is looking for that first big title here in Kartrider Drift. And for Desperado, you know, it's we have super teams like MIRAEN and SEJONG, right? But this team is like just a solid team where, you know, these players came from different backgrounds, but you have Banana, the item ace here. You have FreeSky, Striker, Ghost, who had that fantastic ace match, who really put himself on the map in preseason 2. Promise, obviously, the sweeper of this squad, is very good in speed mode especially. And I think if this team decided to stay together, for example, for multiple seasons of KDL, I think they could build an identity together. That's usually not how things go with non-pro teams here in KDL, but let's see what this team can get done.
Just a little play on words amongst the actual names of the players here between Desperado and Liiv Sandbox. And I mean, this is going to be a big one. I love that you pointed that out, right? MIRAEN and SEJONG is kind of that super team, and Desperado in some ways is kind of that renegade team, right? That's really coming up to try to shake things up, and they absolutely have a chance, and given the time, they could rise to the top. We take a look at our tracks. Now, Liiv Sandbox, they are going to be able to be given that speed priority as Desperado took item priority with the coin flip win. So they finally take us to Terracotta Twister, which we've been avoiding all night.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Terracotta Twister. It keeps getting banned, or just we've moved away from it. They actually banned Handy Harbor as well. And then we're going to Terracotta and Extreme Stadium, so 2 tracks that are mainstays here in at least the KDL preseasons leading up to this point. And then Bayside Bridge Run, a track that Liiv Sandbox actually struggled on oftentimes in preseason 1. Looks like they're ready to turn it around here. A bit surprised to see that one come out, just given their history on the track. But it's a very strong track if you think you're the better team, and I think they definitely should be confident in being that.
Yeah, absolutely. And kicking things off in familiar territory, Liiv Sandbox, they want to start with a lead as we go to World Tour Terracotta Twister. The race kicks off with Liiv Sandbox in red and Desperado in blue as these two teams continue to compete for their own seeding in the postseason.
Promise in first place, but otherwise a very dominant start here for Liiv Sandbox. Ghost and FreeSky at the back. This is really going to hurt Desperado. Essentially, when this happens, it means your main win condition is a 1-2, but outnumbered makes this very, very difficult.
Yeah, Ghost does finally catch up just a bit, but FreeSky's going to be a bit further behind. Ghost finds a great opening around that corner before we enter the tubes here, so he's going to be able to provide some support for that midfield striker with an aggressive jump around the corner. Is going to contest a bit, but he loses quite a bit of speed on the landing, so he's going to fall back down to 6th place.
Yeah, it's a very hotly contested midfield here. Promise going to push through, at least attempt to push through Jimin. Will there have it as he takes the tighter heater there, but Ghost, one of the stronger racers here for Desperado in terms of speed performance, is breaking through too, and this is no longer Liiv Sandbox in complete control. They still have a nice edge, but Promise and Ghost may shake things up here.
Yeah, Ghost with a nice pass on Byung-Soo as well, and we are seeing Liiv Sandbox do exactly what you talked about in the previous matches, right? Try to be a bit more spread out as we see a bit of that bump here on Ghost, so he's going to fall behind, and that gets rid of a lot of the chances that Desperado had. Promise, he's trying so hard to recover off of these sweeps from Byung-Soo, and he's barely able to do so, but that does mean the 1-2 position continues to run away, and Promise, he's just in recovery mode non-stop, trying to get back into the races, and eventually he still recovers off of that jump, but it's not going to be enough, pushes him all the way back down to 8th place, and the 1-2 is just way out of range.
Yeah, Ghost here can't do anything. Striker also kind of blocked there by Byung-Soo, and it's going to be Hyunsoo and Jimin who close it out here. Neil bringing up the rear, not required in this one. The spin finish there just for fun. And Liiv Sandbox will take it, as I mentioned, 1-2, 24-15. But Liiv Sandbox really having I wouldn't say a tough time, but not having the same level of control you'd expect for a while there. But then you start to see the really good sweeping coming out there, and Byung-Soo just made sure that they were going to have this one on lock. Ghost did a great job, though, and FreeSky as well. Like, he did almost fall off there and promised to have a rough time at the end of that second lap, but they actually raced really well, and they took some crazy risky, aggressive inners and lines, which I think you have to have the confidence to do if you're racing against Liiv Sandbox. It didn't work out, but I was impressed with how well they recovered, because a lot of teams from that standpoint we saw halfway through lap 2, it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, you're done, it's over. But they kept it at least very competitive.
Yeah, it just goes to show that obviously they are able to kind of make sure that they're keeping track of the physics of the game, right? So should things come to a scuffle, a bit more sweeping in future tracks, I think we can expect Desperado to put up a better fight, but they'll have to start that here. They want to keep things competitive as we go to round 2 on World Tour Miami Drive.
Off we go here on World Tour Miami Drive. Liiv Sandbox leading 1-0 in speed. But in terms of the pack right now, big lead for Desperado. They occupy the first 3 places, excuse me.
Yeah, Ghost with a nice block around the corner, able to kind of deny that speed off the boost from Liiv Sandbox. Hyunsoo catching back up. Jimin finding a nice route around the tree just to find an opening between the top 3 racers, and that provides a lot more pressure for his teammates to continue to catch up as well.
Jimin here very close to that corner right there, but did avoid colliding with it. And now Byung-Soo, great drafts coming through from him and Jimin, and FreeSky finds himself isolated alone here in first. I say first, he's second now, and Ghost has found these sneaky little lines here to actually pass, but it's not enough. And again, he almost broke through the pack, but it's just outnumbered. This is the worst case scenario if you are Desperado. FreeSky can try to get a multi-man block here, but that's the best they can hope for.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one here on Miami Drive as well once you can pass these boosts, as FreeSky just gets completely denied. Tries to take a bit of a different course there off of the first boost, and he's not able to find success there. And Liiv Sandbox now with another 1-2 lead. Hyunsoo and Byung-Soo, the Soo brothers, they're continuing to lead the pack. Ghost all alone. Neil now doing some sweeping of his own. I mean, doesn't get many chances to do so, and I'm sure he's enjoying that opportunity as he shows his stuff against 2 members of Desperado.
Yeah, basically just 1v2ing, and even with Jimin falling behind, it doesn't matter here. He's recovered very nicely. And oh, that was so sweet, man. They actually might get the 1-4 here. Okay, maybe a bit of a caster curse again, but when you just have this much of a lead, you can afford to sacrifice yourself, as Jimin has done multiple times this round, just to make sure you get that 1-2, and they will get exactly that. Not even needed to watch anybody else. The spin finish there as well from Hyunsu. I mean, domination here from Liiv Sandbox, 2 tracks in a row.
Yeah, I mean, this was pretty straightforward, and I think what we're starting to see is Liiv Sandbox, I mean, they're just doing their own races. They're kind of keeping spread apart. One player is given the task to take those risks, right? In lap 1, it was Jimin taking a bit of an outer course around the trees, crack open, a bit of a gap, and then his teammates can catch up. And then, you know, the rest, they just race safely. Meanwhile, that forces Desperado to play even riskier at the cost of eventually losing that top speed. And it's the battle between forced and unforced errors, and currently Liiv Sandbox is winning on that one as they lead 2-0 in speed mode.
Yeah, it looks like Byung-Soo also got a track record there on Miami Drive. So one of our newer tracks, you know, it happens more often, but still, that's the domination we are seeing here, is setting records. As now it's time for an old favorite of Liiv Sandbox, Glacier Extreme Stadium. It is going to be a long and hard road if Desperado are going to reverse sweep, but it has to start here.
Two-0 lead for Liiv Sandbox. See if they can get that clean sweep. And if they do, I mean, that would give them even greater round differentials and pretty much locking them in place for that upper bracket finals, regardless of Seongnam ROX's record in the later parts of the week. But we'll keep track of that for the time being. Promise continuing to have a good start and a lead, but we'll see if he can keep it as Ghost comes for support.
Yeah. Ghost a little bit predictable, some of these lines he's tried to take in terms of catching up here, trying to take kind of an odd line that's not efficient in terms of speed, but using a Nitro at a weird timing to actually pass some of these lines, and I think he's starting to get called out a little bit. I say that, though, he's been able to break his way into top 2 right now. Here come the first hairpins.
Yeah, nice block from Jimin before entering the hairpins. Completely denies the top speed, but also more so the build here for his opponents, able to keep control of that midfield for Liiv Sandbox. Ghost regains control, not going to slip off there. We've seen a couple racers have trouble with that now and then, but the pressure is starting to get to Desperado. Now the 1-2-3, potentially the 1-2-3-4. Ghost all in his own, and his teammates still far behind from grafting range.
And you can just see the fact that Hyunsu is allowed to do this is that now you can see in picture-in-picture, the midfield is just so far behind, or was so far behind Hyunsu, he could literally just find whatever line he wants to pass Ghost and threaten Ghost, and that is meaning that there's just almost no chance Ghost can touch anybody in that top 3, let alone Hyunsu here, unfortunately. And now they're starting to catch up, but it's way too late. I mean, even with a mistake on the hairpins here, they might be able to recover Liiv Sandbox. That's the kind of lead we're talking about.
Yeah, and Hyunsu, he knew his job. It was simply to block. It didn't matter if he was giving draft or not, as long as he just denied passage from Desperado. They just were not going to catch up. Everyone out of drafting range from Promise. Byung-Soo leading the pack once again as the speed ace from Liiv Sandbox as they get a clean 3-0 in speed mode against Desperado.
And you know, that might be another track record, to be honest, with how much support he had. We'll see in a moment here, but domination, track after track, 3-0 here for Liiv Sandbox, which, you know, you talked about some of the track differentials and stuff like that that could come into play for making sure they get second place. This is going to be pretty massive for them to take this one. You see Jimin very close there as well, just a few seconds afterwards. Not a new track record, in fact, did that confirmed, but very nice pace, as we saw. And for Desperado, they did prioritize item with their coin toss win. They definitely putting their cards in the item mode section of this tournament, but you know, you're really really struggling if you don't end up getting the momentum there.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one if they're not able to do so, and we'll wait for a couple of these substitutions for item mode. Now, of course, on Liiv Sandbox, it will be Dalta, one of the Seungmins that they talked about in that trash talk with their Korean names, coming in for Liiv Sandbox. And funnily enough, it is actually going to be both the item aces with the same name.
Yeah.
It's going to be Seungmin on the other side, Banana coming in as the item ace for Desperado.
The Seungmin battle of the item aces, as Ghost will be out here for Desperado, and Banana is referred to as the team captain. He is the player who's kind of at the helm here, even outside of item mode. He's a very cerebral player, you could say. You know, he's very smart. He knows a lot of timings. He's very similar to Plansy in that regard. We were talking about earlier, very similar playstyle. And he's also obviously the shot caller. So it changes the dynamic for Desperado so much when he plays. I think that's why they often choose item mode priority when they do win the coin toss. But let's see if he can make the impact again tonight that he has against so many other teams.
Yeah, that fan in the audience, their sign said, I've been hitting the wall because I like Liiv Sandbox so much that I turned my apartment into a studio because it just knocked down all the walls. That's the first time I've heard that one, but that's just how strong the fan base is for Liiv Sandbox as we take a look at Desperado taking their priority. As we see with a lot of item aces, it's going to be World Tour London night first, then we go to Motherlode, Polar Halfpipe returning in this series, Clock Tower Crossing, and then if we go to round 5, it will be Venice Gondola Tour.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised, to be honest, they didn't ban Polar Halfpipe Liiv Sandbox with the playstyle of Banana. So a little bit surprised. Could come back to bite them a little bit here, as at least for Desperado, they got 2 tracks that they absolutely love in that one and London night. We'll see if they can start things off with a lead here or if the streak for Liiv Sandbox will continue.
Currently, it is Desperado looking to come back in this match as they've lost 0-3 in speed mode. It's up to Banana, the item ace, to bring home that victory for them against Liiv Sandbox.
Banana was a fantastic start, at least so far. Grabs that shield, see if he can cut for 2 here. We'll actually end up getting offensive items instead. And we'll just hang back to Peel for Striker.
Yeah, currently a couple boosts as well. And I believe, you know, it's the first track. Surely they'll use that here in a little bit as they take a look at what their second item cycles are. Promise still holding on to his. Finally uses it to make sure they don't lose too much tempo as he is just getting whisked up non-stop despite using that boost. So not going to gain much ground from that. And I mean, we talk about, you know, World Tour London Night being, you know, that very ending timing-based course. But so far, Hyunsu is shooting off quite far forward that I think Desperado is going to be pressured to start using some of their team-wide items.
At least Striker grabs 2 UFOs, so that should be able to put a real big dent. And Hyunsu, you see, just drops them both down immediately right before that next set of items. So that's huge, because otherwise that would have been a huge problem, as you were saying, they'd have to deal with. Do see Lightning for Banana here. We also talked about how it's awkward to have that in one of your front runners' hands. But he is Banana. He knows how to use items better than almost anybody.
Yeah, I'll trust him on his choices. Now, one interesting thing is with the WFOs, I mean, Desperado probably thinking if there was an EMP, it would have been used up. And right now, they're not really sitting on one yet. So they still have an opportunity with the magnet over on a Free Sky. Now, of course, Jimin looking for the same opportunity on his end.
Now, let's see if they can grab a Nitro here. They're sitting at the back, so the chances are quite high. Jimin on double magnet. Free Sky does have the Nitro picked up, so he's got the combo ready here. Lightning's out already, baiting the Angel.
All right, that means any extra items they have, like Promise's Rocket, it should be able to find some value. He's going to boost forward with the Guardian Angel right now. The magnet comes out. He's just going to allow Jimin to go forward, but they're going to fire off the rocket, and then the UFO, he loses all speed, and Banana just barely gets ahead with the magnet right in front of Dalta. That's going to be a Desperado dramatic win in round 1 of item mode.
You mentioned that rocket after the Angel was there, and it was like Chekhov's rocket there. As soon as you mentioned it, it was going to make a big impact, right? And then that was really one of the big deciding factors there, because Jimin was the former item ace, of course, for those who don't know, of Liiv Sandbox. And in that old meta, when he was the item ace, that was the meta, is that type of play. So he was very good at it, but they were able to stop him in his tracks when he went for that attempt there. And finally, Desperado are on the board here in this series.
Yeah, and I love that they used the Lightning just a bit earlier to bait out the Guardian Angel, right? Because otherwise, maybe you only get a shield. Guardian Angel is still available for any other attacks and things like that. Obviously, Guardian Angel still only blocks 1 attack now, ever since the change in the middle of the year. But I just love the idea that it kind of gives this margin of error, and the other opponent's probably thinking, okay, that's their last big team attack. We can now focus on our magnets.
Yeah, definitely a good change. Desperado now has some momentum, and we're moving into Mine Motherlode. Let's see if they can keep it up and get a second win. Desperado on the board after a 0-3 in speed. See if they can pull it off here as we move into our second track of Mine Motherlode.
Yeah, most of these mine tracks obviously very prone to the water bombs here, as they are relatively narrow for the majority of the course. 3-lapper, but continue to chain some of these water bombs like we see on the screen right now, and you start to lose all tempo. To keep track of all those firing off. And we've seen triple, quadruple hits before on this track, so curious to see if that's part of the plan here for either team.
Yeah, the Siren can be quite deadly here as well. The instant control up, as I mentioned it, because of those narrow spaces that you were just talking about. So you would ideally want to have it on somebody else, but like Hyunsu has 2 of them now, so if he can actually catch up, or if he can get somebody on this team to kind of push that middle of the pack back a little bit, he might get something out of it. We'll kind of whiff on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, just gonna cycle through, but now he's got that boost, and that's gonna be a great combination of items. Oh, hits his teammate as well, but at the end of the day, he's able to overcome that placement. So getting the tempo they wanted as a team here for Liiv Sandbox. Now Delta is quite a bit far ahead, and we've talked about how the tempo can matter on some of these tracks. Now the UFO comes in, but he is starting to get out of range of those water bombs if he's able to continue.
Yeah, we'll be able to avoid the Wisp. That's the only thing that can really hit him for now, and we'll see if he picks up any EMPs. Not on his team at the moment. Grabs a shield, will eat another UFO, so he bought a lot of time, and now he's got an EMP here. And a shield as we move into this 3rd lap very shortly. Banana will get pulled back. The rest of Liiv Sandbox will need to catch up because they don't have a lot of tools right now, and he won't be able to last forever, as you can see here.
Yeah, and we do have Banana and FreeSky, like you mentioned, right behind them, right? So while Liiv Sandbox no support, I mean, FreeSky and Banana, they can take aggro, they can keep cycling, attacking items against Delta, and so Desperado looking like they're in a slightly better place. Now 2 Bananas, they will just be used on the course. No one falling for that right away, and everyone's starting to run out of items as they start to bunch up together. They're not able to cycle through.
Oh, Delta hit here before he can get value out of the Siren. Was maybe hoping for a Nitro to push him through so he could actually sweep the entire team, as we saw moments before, but unsuccessful. Lightning out here for Liiv Sandbox is going to help them get ahead.
Yeah, Byungsu's got a boost. If no one can pull him back, he's going to be able to cross the line, and Hyunsu's actually using the magnet. He actually realizes he's been magneted as well, so he just resets, allow Byungsu to keep that full speed, and that will be Liiv Sandbox taking that round 2.
Yeah, I think that Lightning was kind of lightning in a bottle, so to speak, because if you have that, you know you can actually give him the opportunity to pull ahead, grab that last item box. You got a shield in it, and then the magnet defensively used there from Jimin, because he thought, okay, maybe I'm going to be the one who has to use this magnet to actually finish the track. He had to make a decision, and then he saw, okay, Byungsu can use this lightning to get a lead. I'm going to use the magnet defensively just in case someone else has a magnet to pull him back. And he waited till the right moment, knew there was enough space there, and now we're tied up 1-1 here. Pretty good bounce back here for Liiv Sandbox. I was a little bit worried for them before that lightning showed up, because it looked like they didn't have a lot of items in the war chest there.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because they just kept having to cycle through just to try to get the lead back. But as you mentioned, the lightning strikes right at the moment they needed it most, and great decision making in the last part of the track now ties things up 1-1. We'll see who takes the lead in item mode as we get ready for round 3. Desperado's choice of Glacier Polar Half Pipe. Another old-time favorite here in item mode, and especially for some of these item aces, as you can have several different combos on this one to finish off. I mean, the Magnet Rush still quite prominent, but especially if you can get over on that top shortcut, and Water Bombs also having some great success towards the end of the track.
Yeah, and it is, of course, still a 2-star track, so there's no sirens or anything like that, but AoE is very threatening here, and that's why you see players usually hovering on the edges like Jimin just did there, like Dalda and FreeSky. Or here, they can hear that sound cue of the water bomb coming out, and they will instantly react, and you'll see players do this each and every time. Sometimes you still get clipped, sometimes you don't have enough time, and obviously Wisp will track you down, but these players are just so well versed at it. This has been one of our more popular item tracks since preseason 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Curious to see. I mean, continuing to dodge every single water bomb. Neither team finding much success there, but of course the Wisps, they are targeted. Now finally the Magnet will make sure Byungsu doesn't get too free of a lead. But right as I say that, we're going to see FreeSky fall off the track just a bit as he gets rocketed out of control. Promise trying to catch up as he takes the shortcut. That will give a little bit of breathing room as everyone cycled through all of their items here already in lap 2.
That was wild. It's almost as if everyone thought it was a third lap, but in all seriousness, it looked like Desperado really just wanted to crank up the tempo and get an advantage there, and FreeSky totally bombed on that. His magnet usage there backfired in a big way, so they had to use a lot. And then you saw the reaction there from Liiv Sandbox. Now we're really on our final track here. Byungsu's grabbed a magnet here. See if Dalda can get anything done with this barricade. Not really, actually hurts his teammate instead, unfortunately. But this is a very tense race as Dalda actually grabs this Nitro. Promise grabs shields, doesn't have anything aggressive. He's going to use that Nitro to get on the high ground here. Very difficult to attack from this location.
Yeah, FreeSky does have a second boost though, so we'll see if that comes into play. He has been magneted, but he should be able to pass by. Now the Wisp on Dalda is actually going to block FreeSky a bit. A shield intact, and now another boost ready to go. This water bomb from Hyunsu, can it do anything? No, he might be too close here in range. He's trying to boost forward, but FreeSky is already way ahead, crosses the finish line, gives the lead 2-1 for Desperado.
And FreeSky blocked Dalda from picking up that last item box there. If he picks up a rocket there, maybe he tosses out quickly enough, and that could have actually changed the tides there, because he used all the defensive items, but he just took that tight line, which we don't really talk about lines that much in item mode because it doesn't matter, but you know, he might have wanted to actually just swerve to the right to actually grab that item, didn't react very quickly, and he just went through empty-handed. No item there means, you're just not going to be able to have any opportunity there. Unfortunately, you're relying on your other teammates, which they tried their best, but they were also kind of out of gas at that final moment. And now Desperado one item win away from taking us to an ace match, our third in a row tonight, if they can pull it off.
I mean, that'd be something we haven't seen very often, right? We do see ace matches here and there, but if we can get all 3 tonight, that'd be one for the books. As we get ready for round 4, it is going to be Village Clock Tower Crossing.
Right, here we go. Liiv Sandbox kind of on the ropes here in item mode. Desperado 2-1. See Promise hang back here, grab an early UFO. We'll toss it out early. But William, know what's interesting about this track is it's kind of like a cross between London and also some of our other more tempo-based maps, because most of the track is pretty tempo-based, but there are some timings where if you actually hit somebody, you can create a environmental hazard on some of these jumps, for example,
like
on turns. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can use the choke point in the map's kind of geography, especially on jumps like this. You see everyone very carefully goes over this one to make sure they can get on that high ground, grab that extra item. If you hit your timings right, it can really cause a lot of aggressive disruption.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, the biggest part about the potential tempo there is because of that shortcut. I mean, it exits right next to the finish line. It's very narrow, so if someone enters there first, chances are they are relatively safe to be able to just body block their way all the way through the finish line, but it's going to matter when we get to that third lap. Currently, I mean, Hyunsu has a bit of a lead with double shield, but nothing too crazy where he seems to be out of range of all other attacks.
Promise here, trying to catch up. You can see that the gap is wide. Like, that's him who just for the bridge just there. That's how far ahead he is. Jimin actually is going to avoid the shortcut altogether. Doesn't want to get risk of getting caught by some AoE there or being hit by a rocket and then really losing momentum. I like that. Respect that safe choice. He just wants to be a buffer for Hyunsu. As you can see here, just going to peel for him. Let's Promise go through. Rocket fires over.
Trying to keep Hyunsu at bay, but Hyunsu's starting to really get away with everything, and he's got an EMP and a shield, and again, no items. I mean, Desperado, they've been dumping everything in lap 2. They now have to cycle through, and ideally, they try to find another UFO, as we've seen the EMP being cycled out, but without that, I don't know how many chances they have. I mean, anyone who's trying to approach, they're getting whisked out. Now Boost ready for Striker. He's trying to shoot ahead. Is he going to take the shortcut? No, he's trying to just block off everybody. Byungsu takes the shortcut, but he cannot get through in time. The Lightning Bolt, but Promise, no, he cannot body block them next to the boxes, and everyone on Liiv Sandbox just crowding the shortcut as we see Hyunsu crossing the finish line.
That was really well played by Liiv Sandbox, just depleting all the items, and I think obviously the final moment there where they blocked the choke point is pretty elementary. Like, that's pretty simple, but they did a great job of it. But what they did really well was actually clear the final item box there that they passed before the shortcut to make sure there weren't any aggressive items that could come through. They knew they had some shields stacked up so they could take some items, but if they just block them from taking those items, they have to slow down and wait, so that guarantees you a win basically. Or they just have to go itemless, where you know if you have that choke point controlled, that's all you have to block. So that was a really clean play there. Really good understanding of the map from Liiv Sandbox. And now we're going to 5. Banana looks a little bit nervous because this is such an important one for Desperado here.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to matter a lot. Now, of course, the last track still selected by Desperado. They had the priority, so they get to choose where the match potentially ends here. Desperado, if they win round 5, will be going to yet another ace match. But Liiv Sandbox, if they're able to win, they will get that 5-2 record. We find out on Venice Gondola Tour. Tied 2-2 in item mode. Liiv Sandbox looking to close things out after a clean 3-0 in speed mode. We'll see if it happens as Jimin takes the lead here in the very first lap.
Bit of a siren setup here for Hyunsu. Gets a double with it.
Ooh,
Actually, a triple, yeah.
Yeah, at
the
end.
return there gets you more than once.
Yeah, absolutely great play with the siren, and that gave a lot of room for Jimin. Obviously, we're still quite early on, so he's not quite out of the woodwork just yet, but he's starting to run away with everything as he's got teammates to help draw aggro as well.
Yeah, Liiv siren box more like.
I mean, yeah, they've been
getting
the success rate. I mean, for this match, their success rate is pretty much just the siren rate right now. Striker trying to just recycle his items and deny at the same time. He won't find too much success there.
Okay, Promise got a UFO. That's really huge because they need to catch Jimin. He's got 2 shields, and he's starting to really build quite a large lead. And Jimin is your guy for timings as well, the former item ace, but he's also been, when Liiv Sandbox were experimenting with this more tempo-based style, the guy for that too. And this Gondola Tour track is so great for that type of play, especially if you can just keep these shields. Oh, and he cycles it for an EMP.
Man, that's huge. I mean, he's way out of range of anything like a water bomb. I mean, quite frankly, he's out of range for most of the track in terms of targeting as well. Finally gets targeted by that rocket right at the edge, and he will be able to shield that. See if he's able to cycle through. It wasn't in time for the item boxes, so... Oh, the Guardian Angel from his teammate, though. It's now a Banana. Oh, and the EMP. Oh, no! Misses the shortcut!
That's so bad. And Jimin, I mean, he's out of magnet range right now. He's going to pick this up with the perfect timing. And he had the EMP picked up earlier. They got the Guardian Angel on him. He's back tackled to 2 shields. It's over, William. It's over. The shot calling was so clean. The Angel comes out. He's got 2 more shields.
And he just uses them just for safety as he crosses the finish line all alone. Jimin bringing home victory for Liiv Sandbox, and they will be finishing the round robin with a 5-2 scoreline in contention for second place in the postseason.
The Liiv Sandbox usually win with a 2-0 scoreline. They have choked on a lot of important ace matches. They get to avoid all of that today. As you can see, they are pumped in front of this crowd that's very Liiv Sandbox favored tonight. It was very close to going to an ace match, and then they pull off the back-to-back wins here in item 2. Prevent it, and we've seen Jimin try this exact style on certain other tracks like London Night, for example, where you're just really going to have a hard time doing that, but this looked to be his most comfortable and most successful yet. And, I mean, obviously circumstances helped him out a lot, but he had players peeling for him. And then when Banana fell off on that shortcut, that was when it was 100% done.
Yeah, I mean, there was no chance of catching up. And yep, as we saw on the screen right there, because of the round differential gap between them and Seongnam ROX, regardless of Seongnam's victory over the weekend, Liiv Sandbox now confirmed for the upper bracket finals, and they will be going to that blue side to face off against the Guangdong Freaks.
Some things never change. Liiv Sandbox and KWANGDONG, the kings of Kartrider Drift, and they were the kings of Kartrider League before that. And KWANGDONG Freeks have a tough opponent waiting for them now in that upper bracket. But, you know, MIRAEN and SEJONG, they came close. We knew that Seongnam ROX might be able to do it, but history just continues to repeat itself.
Yeah, things are starting to fall into place, and as you mentioned, the results haven't changed, but the path to get there has quite a bit, as Desperado did put up quite a fight here in the item mode. And, you know, they're still in contention for the playoffs with the 3-3 record, now waiting their final match over the weekend, later part of the week, and that will determine if they will be able to guarantee themselves in. I think because of round differential, they should be fairly safe to at least get into the wild card match, but the question is will they get a better seeding or not compared to teams like MIRAEN, SEJONG, and Seongnam ROX?
Yeah, Nutmite is very far behind in terms of the set differential at the moment, as well as one additional win behind, so it does feel very unlikely to see them pass, and then Always and Finale are just kind of already statistically eliminated. Finale went, you know, they won their first match, so they have the same scoreline as Always, but they're both down there at the bottom, unfortunately for them. So it's been a very interesting season. You know, some things that we expected to happen did continue to occur. We have seen some wild upsets today, but our final match definitely was not at the end. It was close to potentially having one, but didn't end up happening. And at the end of the day, we don't know still who is going to take the title, because there are some dark horses. Could be Desperado even, if they can pull it off again.
I mean, absolutely, right? I mean, during the preseasons, we had Aura really making a run for it towards the postseason as well. So curious to see. I mean, Desperado, as we saw today, they're a team with potential, and they're a team with that confidence to try to continue to push through. They're not going to give up at any point just yet. And we mentioned it earlier, the midfield is still to be determined. And then out of those, you know, battles, who's going to rise from the ashes to face Kwangdong Freeks, that awaits to be seen.
Yeah, and of course, if you guys are tuning in a little bit late, sorry you missed the fun, but we do, of course, broadcast on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Saturday being the day that you will see the solo matches, which we did just have our redemption match. And so there's a lot more action there as well. We have two portions of this tournament, the solo matches and the team matches. Today's our team day. And then, of course, Saturdays we do both. So check that out on Saturday as well. Just wanted to remind everyone, it's not just the team league we're playing for here at the KDL.
Yeah, there's a lot more to watch for, but let's review how the matches went down today. As Wolf mentioned, it was a night of team matches, sorry, and it was started with a upset from Seongnam ROX, giving Kwangdong Freeks their first win of the season, their first win of the official KDL, and Kwangdong Freeks continuing to not be able to get an undefeated round-robin stage.
Not going to happen again. Try again next season, but ROX with a really impressive win. Very exciting result there, especially in that final ace match where they were able to take it. That was our first matchup of the day, of course. You guys just saw the third one, but we didn't just have one upset today.
Yeah.
We had a second one as well.
Now, funny enough, I mean, if we were told there were going to be two upsets in today's lineup, we probably would have guessed match 1 and 3, right? And the one we just saw, but that's not how it went down. But I love that you brought up the ace match, because that was one worth going back to watch, as we saw Boom bring home victory for Seongnam ROX. And then the upset, only 8% of the fans expected in the world. And I think even for them, perhaps not an expectation, but more a hope, as Finale Esports brings an ace match upset against MIRAEN and SEJONG.
And that's after Finale won 3-1 in speed, which, you know, even with the streak for MIRAEN and SEJONG, which hit 15, by the way, and it is still continued. It might be, you know, we might be moving to further ones in the future, but they won item 3-0. That was expected, but the speed mode part for Finale, what brought them to the ace match, was wild, and then they ended up winning the ace at the end of the day with Ding coming out and just showing them up. They put Hero up. Hero unfortunately did not find success there, got outclassed, and it was just defensive play from Finale that won it out.
Yeah, I mean, both the speed mode team match and the ace match, as you mentioned, Ding with just some really good control, able to get the lead in the second lap, and then just played perfect defense against Hero, where Hero just was not able to find an opening to pass him by before the hairpin sections of Extreme Stadium. So congratulations to Finale Esports. While they are statistically out of the running for the postseason, they now have one win on the board, and hopefully looking for a second one over the weekend. And then we had match 3 that we just watched together, which looked like it could bring us to another third ace match, but unfortunate for Desperado, Liiv Sandbox will regain control in item mode and bring home that victory.
Yeah, no third set to be played here. Desperado made it very close though, and you know, at the end of the day, we've talked about it a lot. You guys probably heard it already, but they still are very likely to go to postseason, pretty much guaranteed to go to that redemption match at the worst case scenario, or wildcard match, I should say, that 4th and 5th place that we added this season. You can see where they're standing in the standings right now. They're a whole win ahead of Nutmite, as well as 5 sets.
Yeah, I mean, there is a world, right? I mean, if Desperado lose, Nut might win. then the round differential, or I guess the set differential would still favor Desperado though, because they would only be -2 and Nutmite would have to go up to -3. So it looks like most likely Desperado should be safe, but we'll have to wait and see and get confirmation on that.
Yeah, if Nutmite went like 6-0 and Desperado went, you know, they ended up having a really tough loss, like,
yeah,
it could happen.
There's a chance, yeah, but we'll have to wait and see. But of course, again, the standings not quite finalized for rounds 3 or places 3 through 5, right? And the most important is can you get into that 3rd place to avoid having to play another match? We return on Saturday, and this is that 1 week where we will have all team matches as we round things out. 6 teams remaining to play their last match in the round robin, and it kicks off with Seongnam versus Desperado. Very important for both teams to try to decide who's going to sit where in the postseason standings. Then next up, it's going to be MIRAEN and SEJONG as well, trying to avoid that 4th place finish here in the postseason. Last but not least, always versus finale. I mean, that's the one to decide who's going to escape last place in the standings between those 2 teams as we round out the round robin of team matches this weekend.
Finale making it a lot more interesting winning that one today, though, so that they can actually have that opportunity to just kind of clearly be the better team in the standings. And then Desperado versus Seongnam is a pretty good one to me. You know, I look at that matchup as Seongnam overperformed. Desperado got close today. I would favor Seongnam ROX, but I do think Desperado's item mode is very strong at the moment. So 3 matches that seem pretty straightforward, but you know, if tonight has taught me anything, you never know until that final match is over.
Yeah, I mean, today all 3 matches had, you know, nearly 90% or over predictions in favor. We had 2 upsets. So excited for Saturday. That's going to be under the round robin stage. Don't miss it. We'll return at 6 p.m. KST. We hope to see you then.
Check if my name in your mouth, better add the respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone. Throw it off of my brain and I'm back to the bone.